Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
What's up? What's happening, world? Welcome to another episode of the VO Show. Welcome my co-host, Nieman Johnson. What's up, buddy? How art thou?
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, you know, another episode, another opportunity. We ain't gonna waste no time. You know how it is. We gonna get right on into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, how was it growing up being you, man? Like, how was it, just childhood times?
Growing up was fun. It had its good days and it had its not so good days. But growing up for me was different. You know, obviously I was in an environment where I was the only boy. I was the youngest of four. My mom and dad, were Nigerian immigrants. They came over here. My dad had to work 3 jobs. My mom went to nursing school and then eventually started being a nurse at the hospital in PG County, Anne Arundel County, and she worked nights. So, I spent a lot of time by myself, and I spent a lot of time with women. So, my dad, he was grinding. So, anytime, any chance I got to hang out with him every so often, we did that. But for the most part, he was working. So, as a child, it was different. I got teased a lot, especially when I went to school. For the color of my skin, I was dark skinned, so I got a lot. And then I was African on top of that, so it was a little different.
And the kids knew you were African, or they knew you were Nigerian?
Well, they knew I was Nigerian.
How did they know? Like, did you guys have an accent, or they seen you?
No, I didn't have an accent. It was more so my name. I think kids heard my name. And when I was younger, I guess I look African. I think I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what that means to look African. But after a while, it wasn't that big of a school. I was in the same school from kindergarten till 8th grade. So that whole entire
so y'all knew each other.
We knew each other well.
When did your mom and dad get over to the States?
My dad and my mom came over here about 40 plus years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, they just had my sister, my big sister. And then, they had my middle sister a little bit after a while. When they first moved here, they had to live with some friends. My mom was living in a house with like 4 or 5 other people. And then, my dad was grinding, and eventually we got opportunity to move to Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And that's where I was born in Silver Spring at Holy Cross Hospital. And then, I grew up in Upper Marlboro, PG County, a population of 700. So
when did you when did you start playing basketball? Like, when did you pick up the basketball?
The first time I ever seen a basketball, to my earliest remembrance, I was probably like 4 or 5 years old, and in our school they would do this thing called it was like a field day almost, but it would be a yearly basketball game where they would separate each class from A and B. So each class, so kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, preschool, whatever, it'd be 2 classes for each level of grade. And then at the end of every year, they would have like I don't want to say national, because that's not what I mean, but they would have a yearly basketball game to see like who was better, A or B, or we would call it blue or gold because those were our colors. Mm-hmm. So that was the first time I ever seen it when I went and attended it, and everybody in school would come, everybody sits in the stands, and the whole school, kindergarten through 8th grade, was there, and all the levels play, and then at the end the oldest kids play.
Wait, did you play?
Oh yeah, I mean years after that I played, but at that moment when I first seen a basketball, no, I was just sitting in the stands watching. And everybody was hyped. They wanted.
So you remember the thoughts when you were 5? Like,
I don't know.
Did basketball call you at 5?
Yeah, I mean, I felt it right away. As soon as I felt it as soon as I entered the gym. I remember. I still remember like it was yesterday walking in the gym. I remember where I was sitting. I remember like the feeling I had once I seen and heard someone score, and I heard the crowd go crazy, and just the energy in the building, even though it was just blue versus gold and it probably didn't mean much. For some reason, my eyes were locked, and the feeling just, you know, it kind of just hit me crazy.
How long to actually pick up the ball and like?
Probably like a couple days after I was on a mission to find the closest basketball possible. Like, bro, like it was so bad. They used to call me Pistol Pete. That was my nickname in elementary and middle school, like Pistol Pete, because I used to get in trouble for dribbling the basketball in the hallways. So like I would be in class, forgive me for this, but I would be in class, I would get bored in class, and I would get up and I'd be like, can I use the bathroom? I would use the bathroom.
Yeah.
I would go to the gym and get a ball and dribble around school for like a good 15, 20 minutes, thinking that day I'm in the bathroom taking a number 2. till eventually I got older and I'm dribbling through school, and the people, they getting in trouble. I mean, I'm getting in trouble left and right. Like, there's some days I wasn't even allowed to go to recess just because I was dribbling the ball in school. And then eventually my 8th grade teacher, Miss Volpini, rest in peace, she gave me the nickname Pistol Pete. And then ever since then, people been calling me Pistol Pete when I was in elementary school.
Oftentimes I hear you say like, the basketball called me. I didn't.
Yeah, basketball chose me. I didn't choose it.
Yeah.
And I say that because like, it wasn't anybody that was like influencing me to play the game or pick up the ball and play the game. It was just a feeling I had. And then I was succumbed by that feeling. Like, I was overwhelmed by that feeling to the point where I was like, wow, I think I'm just going to do this. I want to do this all the time. I want to be out there. I see myself. I want to feel that feeling. You know what I mean? So it chose me. And ever since then, at that moment, honestly, when I was that young and I felt that moment, I chose it too. It was like our first date. You know what I mean?
You know when nowadays like parents make their kids play basketball,
of course, yeah, or sports or anything.
It's just sports now because it's just big business.
Yeah.
What do you say to the parents, both parents, like the kid that's playing against his will and the kid that like wants to play so bad? He's the kid that like you, where he just has the overwhelming feeling like how should the parents approach?
For both ends?
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, it's different strokes for different folks. You know, I believe in duality, but
yeah,
I honestly, for me, I think that the best way to go is to let your kids pick their gift.
Right.
And instead of, you know, telling them what they are supposed to do. Now, in some situations, you should kind of do that. Like, there are some great players who, you know, might not necessarily chose their sport, but
their parents was on them,
and they ended up being one of the greatest. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, that's like one in a what? Billion?
Right.
One in a zillion?
Well, you guys are one in
and exactly
like 0.00% regardless.
Exactly.
But
so,
do you feel like those kids thank their parents like at a point, or?
I think at some point, I think both sides will be able to. I think, you know, it just depends. Like, I'm not with the forcing anything on anyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think that's the best way for someone to learn. I think that when someone actually chooses something, then you don't have to make them work hard. They're naturally going to want to do it on their own. So I think that, you know, it just depends. You know, I think there are different ways for parents and people to educate and teach. So, but I think that, you know, as a player, you know, you want to do something you love. I think even if you're not a basketball player, like I would bet a lot of money that a lot of people, if you told them that they could make millions of dollars doing something they love, they would choose that over anything.
Right,
any day.
1000%.
And a lot of the things we love to do, we just genuinely love to do it, and a lot of times we'll do it even if we weren't getting paid. So
yeah,
I think that's important for life.
What what was it like? Like, you know, when you were growing up, was your parents like, was they into basketball, or were they like more education, or?
You know, my dad was super he was super educated. He still is. Like, he's Like he got his PhD, his master's degree, like and it just runs on and on, like his accomplishments in academics. And so that was his big thing. His big focus was he wanted us, you know, to be bright and be smart. My mom loved the game. My mom loved watching Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan. She didn't watch it all the time, you know, like a junkie.
Yeah.
But she knew those two players. My big sister loved basketball too. She was a Kobe fan.
Nice.
But you know, that wasn't the thing that was being played. We had one television. We had one, the televisions with the big bodies in the back. Y'all remember them, Jones?
Yeah. That's what y'all had.
Yeah, that's what we had. But basketball wasn't being played on that. I was the youngest too, so I was the last choice. You know what I mean? Like I was getting the short end of the stick, which is cool. I mean, elders go first, so it's elders go first. So I understand, but.
So at first, were they supportive of you playing basketball?
Well, my mom was. My dad, in the beginning, I think he didn't understand because in the beginning, it was early. It was what was that? In late '90s, early 2000s, I think. Like, I don't necessarily know if he kind of understood like that. This ball could change our lives. You know what I mean? Like, he knew that books could. You know what I mean? Because it did for him and his family. You know what I mean? Like
he might have been on the percentages.
Yeah,
he might have been on the likelihood.
Exactly, the likelihood of me actually going.
You actually, going
he
to
like,
school
nah,
and finishing.
Nah, just go finish. Go do that instead. Like,
just get the guaranteed W.
Yeah. And like, I'm not mad at him for that either. You know what I mean? It's just at that time, that's why you got to take into context like the time periods in which things are happening too. Like that's essential and important too. And I don't blame him for wanting that for his children or his kids, because I mean everybody wants that for their kids at this point. And so
security,
and to be able to and also just the other things like being able to dialogue and being able to to know things and learn things and try to use those things that you learned in the real world. So
I've heard stories of you. Like, so did your first basketball hoop at your house, you bought it or who bought it and you built it in the driveway?
Yeah, so I never had a basketball hoop in my house until in high school we moved even further down Upper Marlboro, meaning like bro, like in the boonies, bro, like nah, you don't even understand, name. Like I was chilling with the deers and I was chilling with them dudes. Like it was one winter, I remember it was like 7 of them in the backyard. Crazy. I said, bro, this is insane. But we was way, way, way out there. I guess because my dad, he just he felt as though like the best thing to do was to protect us. So the best way to do that is to get us as far away as possible from everyone, which, again, you can't really fault him for that because, the world is wild, know, but, so the very first basketball hoop I got out was when I moved there. And, my dad was too busy. We wasn't paying nobody to do it. So, honestly, I can't really remember how I got it. I don't know if I asked them for it and they bought it for me, or if it was a thing where, we were at Walmart and I was like, Mommy, I'm about to get this. And she just, kind of bought it for me. But I just remember that, it was sitting in the garage for a while. And then eventually I was like, you know what, F it. And I built it by myself. And it was about 7 feet. Well, no, it was a little shorter than that, probably like 9 feet tall, and the rim was crooked. But you couldn't tell me nothing though, bro, because I built it. So for me, it's very emotional because like thinking about it, and early, he'll tell you when I first told him that story, I started crying because people don't understand, like it was just me that believed I could get there. When I say that, like my people loved me and wanted the best for me and prayed for me and was hoping, obviously, but they didn't know. They couldn't know. They couldn't have known. I didn't know. I just was trying anything possible to get some sort of edge because I knew everyone else did have one. You know, everyone else was in the gyms with their dads and they brothers and their uncles.
Yeah, because
and
the city where you grew up, basketball
is a huge thing.
It's very prevalent.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in PG County, Maryland, and you know, we got, I mean, to name a few, Kevin Durant, Jeremy Grant, Josh Hart, Markelle Fultz, you know, and if you add the DMV, you can go Melo, you can go. It's a basketball hotbed, and you know, for me, it was like, man, like these dudes is, you know, I'm starting AAU at 14, 15 years old. You know what I mean? They been
playing.
What? And they've been going hard too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for me, it was like, man, if I gotta build this court, and even though it's crooked, I could still use my imagination, you know, to try to figure out something.
Yeah, that's big time, bro. So, when did you start playing, like your first time playing organized basketball?
Probably I was young. I was still young. It probably was like I was probably like 5 or 6 or 7 years old. It was it wasn't really, I mean, but it was like little baby kids, and we was kind of, you know,
Where was it? Was it?
It was at the elementary school.
it was blue and gold.
Hey, it was real for me, man.
I didn't say it wasn't real,
okay,
Dad. I'm just saying it was.
I was on one in that league, bruh. No, I'm just saying. I was on one with them 5 years old. What? I was going crazy at 6 or 7, bruh. But
so did you play in junior high?
Yeah, I played in junior high. For sure.
They had like an organized team, or it was like
yeah. They had an organized team, and that's when I first met Quinn Cook, who's a good brother of mine as well. We met in the 5th and 6th grade. That's when I played middle school. Middle school was like 7th and 8th, or what is that? 6th, 7th, and 8th.
I mean 6th, 7th, 8th.
Yeah. So I played, and you know what's funny is I remember a story like. And it's funny, like, I don't wonder, I'm not gonna name bro, but I know bro remembers this, but there used to be, every morning my dad would drop us off at like 7 a.m., 7:30, school started at 8 a.m. So we would leave the crib every morning. I have to wake up. I've been waking up waking up at 4:30, me and my sisters every day, probably until high school. And then high school, you know, we moved it up to 5. But, my dad would drop us.
That's because the house was far.
Yeah, the house is far. But my dad would drop us off super early when I was young, really young. So, and there was this court. There was 2 courts right outside of the school. So every morning, you know, I would find a basketball. Whether I gotta go in the gym and take one, whether I would bring one, whether I would walk around the neighborhood where the school at and find one. I would get a ball, and we would play before school started. And I remember one time I'm playing this kid, and you know, I'm playing, and then this older kid come up. He said, "Man, you gonna be a star on the second team." I said, "Dang." I said, "Wow, that's crazy." You know me, I ain't say nothing back. Oh, better believe I was on no second team the whole entire time in middle school. I was on the first team.
Remembered that, Junior.
What do I? The dude who told me that ain't grow. He ain't grow. He's still the same height he was when he was in 5th grade.
So you was playing in junior high. Did people like, so I mean, was he like going off of your ability? Like,
yes. My ability.
But it was like,
well,
was he being honest? Like, it was true? Like, you weren't that good back then?
I mean, I wasn't skilled like everybody else. I was playing on a court that was 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it was slumped. It was crooked.
So
you know?
when you get to,
and even then, that was when I got to 9th grade, bro. Even before that, I didn't have no court at the house. It was just I would get there super early and be excited to shoot on the court.
So when you get to middle school, is this like something where y'all have practice, or y'all just?
Yeah, we had practices. They were really short. They weren't too long. It was like probably like an hour long. It wasn't crazy. Nah, it's middle school. It's not. It wasn't. I mean, we was serious to the point where we wanted to win, obviously.
Right.
Like I wasn't a vocal part of a team winning, meaning like I wasn't like a guy they was like throwing into and be like, we need you to go get one for us to win, until I got to Indy, bro.
Sheesh.
There was a lot of times, you know, it wasn't like there was no time in my career except when I was, Tom Crean too, when I was in Indy And when I was on the Pacers, where the coach and the staffs is like, well, we need you to be our guy.
Right.
So other than that, bro, I was just a fill-in. I was trying to do my best to stand out, and my skill set came later when I was in college. So during that time, I wasn't the greatest for a while, bro. For a long time, I wasn't the greatest offensively, but I was an athlete, bro. Always athletic.
So how do you end up at DeMatha, like with like? So was it like a thing where you had to like convince your parents? Or was it like because it was Catholic that it was just cool?
Well, that helped. That definitely helped. But what was crazy is DeMatha was on the same street as my elementary and elementary school and middle school. It was on the same street. So I remember it was one day, I was playing or whatever, and one of the kids who he just got inducted in the Hall of Fame not too long ago, or recently, Nieman Johnson, he was a guard there, but he used to walk around too, and he would come by the school so my dad would pick us up super early, and my mom would pick us up a little late, because again, she would sleep during the day, you know what I mean, because she worked nights.
Had to go to work,
yeah, so we would get picked up a little later than normal, and we didn't have bread for aftercare, so I was just
hanging out.
Yeah, I was just doing my thing. So there was one time where, I had an opportunity to go watch them play. And I remember Nigel, DeMatha piqued my interest because of Nigel Munson, because he used to come and hang around the school, and I used to play him one-on-one. He used to go crazy, but he wasn't even trying, like handle crazy. I'm like, dang, like. And, I had an opportunity to go watch them play, and I watched them play, and I was like, yeah, I seen them come in. They had their blazers on. They all had the same uniform on, shoes on, and then they won by 30. And I'm like, yeah, that's where I want to go. They 36-1. They don't lose a game. They lose one game all year. They number one in the area, number one in the country. I'm like, yeah, I want to go there to that school. I go to the school. I'm walking through the school. I'm seeing all the trophies, the players that went there. I'm like, it's all boys. Yeah. So I know my parents gonna love that. So I'm like, yeah, let me go.
So you had to convince them.
Well, yes and no. You know what I mean? I think it was more so like, it helped obviously because it was an all boys school. It was Catholic.
So it's things working.
Things worked in my favor.
Like, and they was gonna put y'all in private no matter what though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think so. Even though it was tough for them. Like my dad, he had to work a lot. My mom, she had to work a lot, but.
Shout out to them.
It was tough.
Shout out moms and pops.
In fact, my love is to infinity and beyond for my family. But, it was tough for us. It was tough. But we were my dad and my mom grinded, and they sacrificed their own relationship, really, honestly, for us. And it's tough. But we appreciate them and we love them regardless. I know I do. And I know my sisters do. And we appreciate it because we hold some kids. We successful. We got 9 degrees between the 4 of us. So
they did their thing.
So we appreciate it. It worked out. It worked out the way it was supposed to. But yeah, it was easy. It was an easy connection. It was right down the street. It felt simple. It really didn't have to go.
Oh, so they was into it.
Because it didn't really. It wasn't like they had. You think about it. They just had to go 2 more seconds where they already was going. So the schedule really didn't have to change for them. They could keep the same thing they was doing. So it made sense.
Were you a part of the Did you know at that time yo, mom's just gonna cost da 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 da? Like
I tried to stay away. I tried to stay away from financials during that house. Trust me, I tried to stay away from that topic of the conversation. It wasn't the greatest, so I just knew. I just knew though, like that's where I wanted to go after seeing them play.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, I think this is where I'm supposed to be, and it turned out great for me going there. So
when you went, you had to try out for the team?
You want me to tell you what happened?
Yeah.
It just seemed like, boy, wait till you hear this story. So in the eighth grade, we plan and we have games and we have teams, from kindergarten to 8th, we have teams. But on the 8th grade team, the high school coaches would come watch us play. Mm-hmm. Not one hollered at me after the game. Not one single one. What? They would come and watch Quinn. There was another kid named Brian Allen. He was really, really, really talented. They would come and watch him play. Yeah, bro, but I didn't get no love after games. I used to see guys talking to high school coaches and high school coaches talking to the parents. But I used to go to games by myself. I ain't had no adults with me, so I wasn't getting no love. So what had happened was, I'm on my way to DeMatha to get an application. So my mom pull up, and I get out the car. And as I'm walking to go get an application, Mike Jones, who was the head coach there, he literally walking to the front office as I'm going. So he would recognize me because he had came and watched some of our games to see Quinn, see Brian. And he was like, "Hey, don't you play?" I'm like, "Yeah, I play." He's like, "Don't you play at St. Jerome?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You coming to Summer League?" He remembered my response. "What is Summer League?"
Boy, what?
What is that? He was like, "Man, be here at so and so time and da 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 da." And that's how I started on DeMatha basketball.
And then when you went, did you try out for you tried out for the freshman team, JV, or
yeah?
varsity?
I tried out for freshman my first year. I don't think I would have got destroyed if I went and played. That was. I would have won. No. Okay, so I played freshman my freshman year, and then after freshman, I made varsity my sophomore year. I didn't play, but I made it though. And then my junior year, he asked me if I wanted to come off the bench. That's a whole nother story. But and unfortunately, I didn't start to my senior year. But even though I felt like I probably should have started my junior year, but we had a lot of talent, so I guess it is what it is.
So, and you feel like you started on varsity as a senior because you felt like you was like should have been a starter.
Yeah, I felt like I should have been a starter my junior year.
Yeah,
honestly, but what had happened was I think coach had too much talent. And this is just no disrespect to anybody. I'm the African kid who's respectful, who don't have no parents that's like, no, I want my kid to do this. I want my kid to be there. Like, how do I get my kid to do so because I'm talented and I'm the kid that doesn't necessarily have a parental that's like, nah, he's good. Nah, we want him to, I think it was easy for him to be like, yo, Vic, and then it was like he asked me, "Do you want to come off the bench?" I said, "Do whatever you think is best for the team." And I guess he took that as the next day he in front of the team. He said Vic willingly said he wants to come off the bench, even though I never said that. But it is what it is. I was respectful to grown-ups and coaches and people, and so I just didn't say anything and took the role.
Came up off the bench on your junior year.
Yeah.
So your senior year, you were a starter. You're number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th option on the team.
You want me to be honest?
I want you to be very honest.
Well, if I'm being honest, I would say I wasn't an option. I was more so of a guy that kind of just, I just was the guy who I don't want to say trash can guy, but I was the guy that did everything else. Like, they wasn't drawing up a play for me, but I was getting the old board. I was, I might make a spot up 3.
Your senior year, who was the starters?
My senior year was me, Jaron Grant, Quinn Cook, Mikael Hopkins, and I think James Robinson started.
So who was the number 1 option?
Quinn.
Quinn was the number 1 option.
Yeah.
So how do you get a look? Like, how do you get?
Well, it was tough because I didn't have one until my senior year. Like, so I think it's still the same, but I believe when you're in 8th grade you play 14s. In 9th grade you play 14s. In 10th grade you play 15s. 11th grade 16s, and then 12th grade 17s. So going into my senior year, I didn't have any college offers. After my sophomore year, I had a great summer though, bro. Like, I was doing my thing, like, because I had a coach. His name was Coach Nieman Johnson. He let me play. He let me be myself. I didn't have to be the aggressive rah to earn that.
He was playing in the summer.
Yeah, I was playing. Okay, so I started playing AAU finally in high school we was triple threat. Then we changed over. Our name was Team Takeover now, who's in the EYBL now. We was actually on the team. Me and Jaron actually chose the name for the team. But anyway, so I started playing when I was a freshman. I started playing with AAU. And how I started playing was I was in the gym. I had my Bucks on, like my school shoes on, and the head of the AAU team, Keith Stevens, walked in. And he was with Coach Jones, and I was just in the gym, and I didn't know who he was. And Coach Jones was like, "Man, go dunk," and I just dunked that joint with my Bucks on. And then Keith was like, "Be here at this time."
Be here at this time. Hey,
I said, I love it.
When you was playing AAU, did you have to pay?
Yeah, my mom spent a little bag the first year. She spent a
Word.
little bag, the first year. Not with Team Takeover though, because right before Team Takeover, when I was in 9th grade, I had a little session that I went to. This team called Mitchellville Stars. We was terrible, but it's okay. It was a good experience.
But
My
so
mom
you went
spent
to
a
go
little
ask
bag.
moms.
I had to. I had no choice. You know what I mean? And my mom did it for me, and I appreciate her for that.
Shout out moms
Shout out to
again,
moms for that. But then right after that, I had stopped for a little bit, and then once I got to high school, it was up from there. I got a chance to play with Team Takeover and Keith, and then I got better, and that's when my first year in AAU. Kingston Price, shout out to Kingston, who was coaching the team at the time.
Shout out Kingston.
He told me I was his best player. That was the first time anyone had ever told me I was the best player at anything. So for me, I was like, oh man, that gave me a supreme amount of confidence. But then my freshman year, right before I was about to start AAU, we playing in a tournament before the real stuff happened in Virginia, and I'm on the baseline and I'm just standing there, and this kid runs by and kicks me in the inside of my ankle, and I cracked my ankle, and I missed the whole summer. Mind you, I couldn't dunk before then. Well, like not for real, like you know what I mean, like when Keith had told me to go touch the rim, I went and I touched the rim with my Bucks on. It was, I could do that, but like when I came back after that, bro, and people will tell you for some reason I was soaring, like jumping over things.
What do you think is because like
I don't know. I can't tell you why.
Like you came back stronger?
Bro, I came back stronger and dunking on everyone though.
What?
Like I don't know.
People wasn't noticing that. Like this kid could dunk on people. Like it wasn't like you was.
No,
tough.
they was. And I've had some people that I could get some people on the show.
What age is this?
This is like 15, 14,
so
15.
This is like when you're
8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. And I mean, like in 9th grade, I could touch the rim.
So that was like regular, like in sophomore year, junior year.
Not for people to just start dunking on. Like, bro,
Right.
my
But
first.
like, why weren't you like more prevalent on the
Well,
team?
because
like,
there wasn't no Instagram.
No, but I'm talking about just on the team. Like it seemed like
There wasn't no Instagram. If they was catching my stuff online and it was going viral, the team would have been playing me more. Better believe that. But
So
we're not gonna talk about that.
You think
it
they
ain't nothing
wasn't playing
personal.
you because you didn't? For one, you was like the quiet kid.
I mean, that could have played a role.
Really like,
I think that played a role, yeah. And I just didn't have the raw talent either. Like I didn't have the skill set everyone else had. I was the athletic kid that could guard. Like in 10th grade, my first points I dunked on somebody. In varsity, like my first points was somebody getting dunked on. So for me, it was like, okay, I didn't have the skill set, I didn't have the handles, or I didn't have the ability to shoot the ball the way I do now. Like, but I was athletic and I could guard anybody. So that's how I got on the floor. That's how I stayed on the floor, really.
But I guess that just speaks to how good the team was.
We was super good,
because it's like they wasn't. I mean, you saying you like dunking on people, but then you weren't an option at all.
No, I wasn't the main focus.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, I mean it does, but that's it just because I mean back then it's different than it is now.
Winning championships.
Yeah, I mean we won. We won 2 championships. So I played 3 years. We won 2 out of the 3 years I played. My first year, we lost in the semifinals to O'Connell. My second year, we won on a buzzer beater, and then my last year we won by 20. So
when Tom Crean comes in, watches you play, is he actually get to see you like?
Yeah, because that was my senior year. I was starting.
You was starting,
and then what had happened was I was guarding. We was playing a team from Louisiana. Dang, I forgot bro name. I'm so sorry, but we was playing this team. He was like he was in a grade under us, but he was top 10. And he had 30, but he took 30 attempts, and I guarded him the whole entire game. And then after the game, TC offered me. And then, you know, right before AAU season started, I went on my visit to Indy. And I remember after the first day, my name was in my picture, my name was in the newspaper. And then when I went to the football game, they started chanting my name. I said, yeah, I'm coming here. F everywhere else, bro. Like after I was telling you, we kind of went off the subject. But my sophomore year, I was playing for a guy named Nieman Johnson who let me go, who let me be myself, to the point where I got an offer from Maryland, which was down the street from DC. DC, down the street from DeMatha, the high school I went to.
Was the coach for DeMatha or
no? He's
Takeover?
My AAU team, not DeMatha. DeMatha, I had to play my role. He's had too many good players.
It was Takeover.
Yeah, it was Takeover. He kind of let me be free. So during the summertime. And during the summer circuit, I got an offer from Maryland. So, you know, they brought me on a visit. I didn't commit right away because I was like, I mean, I'm only a sophomore. I ain't going to commit right away. I don't know what the future going to hold, you know. So, you know, eventually my junior year, they took it away. After I came back to DeMatha and played at DeMatha, they came and watched me a few times. And then I remember that summer, I got a call from the coach, and he was like, I just wanted to let you know, like, we are taking your offer away. I was like, I wonder if that happened to anybody before.
Right. You could have kept that info, my boy.
So then that was my only. That was. I mean, they took it away, so I have no offers going into my senior year. And then, luckily, TC seen something in me. I guess because you know, in high school, bro, I played the 4. I was a power forward. To the point, I remember Coach Jones is so funny. Coach Jones used to tell me to rebound and outlet it to Quinn.
I just get it and pass it to Quinn.
Pass it to the guard. Just rebound and pass it.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
bro.
it was. But
so
you know, we had
a
bunch of talent though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't blame anyone. I love my journey and my story. Like, I loved how it happened, how everything, you know, transpired and manifested, and I wouldn't change it. Like, but you know, I'm gonna be honest about how I felt and how things went though.
As
you know what
should,
I mean?
Yeah.
And to be real, like, you know, we had so much talent. We had too much talent. We had guys who were just really impressive and did their thing. Like our bench, we had Jeremy Grant coming off our bench. Jeremy didn't start till I left.
Yikes.
So that should just tell you right there what kind of talent we have.
Did Crean, like, did you guys ever have a conversation about what he's seen in that particular game? Because he only came to one game, right?
You know, I never asked him that question. That's such a great thing. I should have asked him. What did you see? I don't know.
I don't know what offer somebody you seen him one time and
then it turned out to be me. Could you imagine?
And then, but also, like, you seen me one time, or maybe he didn't see you one time. We gotta ask him.
Yeah,
Tom,
maybe
you gotta come on the show.
Yeah.
Tom,
TC, we gonna get you on here.
Yeah. Because it's like he obviously was excited.
Bro, you had to have been.
No, but I mean, like, even your welcoming was like, you know, he had everybody hype. He had the name going. He had you in the paper. Like he
made
it
seem like I was a top 10 recruit. Boy, I was 150.
So when you get to Indiana, like, did you start right away?
No. I didn't start right away. I was coming off the bench in the beginning, and then I had some starts though. I had some games that I started in because a couple guys went down. And then, you know, I know the first couple of games in the Big Ten, I was leading the Big Ten in scoring as a freshman, or team in scoring as a freshman. And the first, like, 3 or 4 games of the Big Ten, and I got benched. So I'll let TC answer that when he come on the show.
Yeah, come on and explain your piece, man. Explain your piece. So was it a culture shock, like, coming from?
Come on, yeah, for sure. You know what's crazy? Like, I went from, you know, being in first off, like, I grew up in an African home and Nigerian home. And, you know, I was exposed to a lot of Nigerians. That's who my family friends were. Mm-hmm. And then I went to school, and in College Park, it was a good mix. Like, I had Asian friends, I had black friends, white friends. You know, it was a good mix in our elementary school and high school. And then when I got to Indy, it was like a lot of Caucasians, you know what I mean? And it was different, you know what I mean, for me. But, you know, it wasn't too crazy to the point because I had pretty good balance and experience. And I was lucky enough to have elementary, middle, in high school a lot of experience with other races and other people from different backgrounds, and to see the God and the blessings and the beauty in them too. So it wasn't too crazy for me once I got there.
Yeah. Was, how did, because times, from the stories that we talk about, Tom was kind of strict. He was like,
Kinda.
like, what was it like playing for Tom? What was it like playing for TC?
I ain't gonna lie, it was war. It was straight up war, boy. What?
Why though?
It's because, man, if it's a certain expectation. It's a lot of pressure on college coaches too. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of pressure on them to provide and maintain a job and all that stuff too. So, TC was going to put everything and get everything out of us he could possibly get. I remember one of the first practices I ever had, I was just running on the treadmill. I don't even know what I did. I was just running though for the whole practice.
Because I've gotten a chance to like hear some of you and the guys talk. Like, it sounds like
war.
It sounds like in football they have a hell week. It sounds like y'all whole season was just, even during the season though. Yeah. Like during the season was hell week too.
Man, my man TC, he's an acquired taste, man. You nah, he great though. He is great. Is when it comes to pushing you and getting you to another level, he acquired taste. And a lot of people can't handle that. So but he pushed us to the limit for sure. He was, and that's why at 7 o'clock when we played, it looked crazy.
Yeah. What was it like? What was it like playing for IU? Like just.
I'm gonna tell you, I say this all the time. I was like, man, people think I became a celebrity when I got to the league. I was a celebrity before that at school.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I told you.
What was that like?
Remember? Yeah, it was crazy. It was insane. Like. It was unbelievable, like to the point where I remember, like I used to have 8 a.m. class every semester, every morning.
But when did it get like that? Was it like that, like your freshman year?
No, okay. Great question. It wasn't crazy until CY hit that shot. I think after CY hit that shot versus Kentucky, and they seen we was for real, things drastically started changing quick. And then my junior year, my last year there, when I started really going crazy, like it became like to the point where I used to have an 8 a.m. class every morning. Like every semester, every morning I had an 8 a.m. class because I was trying to graduate in 3 years. But I used to go to class even in the morning, bro. In the class to the point where I had to like wear headphones with no music in it. But just if I had the headphones on, I knew nobody would try to stop me for a picture. Nobody would try to stop me and talk to me or ask me how the game was. So it got that crazy to the point where I had to do that in 8 a.m. classes, bro. Like, who's up at that time? And why do you want to picture that early? They want to flick that early, bro. They're not playing around. But that's why it's so great.
So your sophomore year is when
it started going crazy over there. I mean, my freshman year, they knew how I was, you know what I'm saying? But we won 5 games, bro. You can't even hate on them for no, like, I don't know. But then the next year, we went crazy.
And was it like one of them vibes where it was like, you knew you ain't really had to go to class, but you went anyway?
Well, yeah and no. There was some classes, bro, I know I knew that I had to attend, bro. Because if you wasn't attending, you wasn't winning. But there are some classes I knew I didn't have to go to, but I went anyway, just because I love experiences. You know me, I love experiencing and interacting and learning and stuff like that. So, it was easy for me to go there and sit in there even though I was tired.
You had like those experiences where you would like go out in the town. And
bro.
The police would know you.
Yeah, bro. There was, man. I got so many wild stories, bro. But there was one time we was all trying to leave. We was all leaving this at this gathering or something. Something we was at, and my boy he had like too many people in the car, but we was driving and then the police pulled him over. It was like, oh dang, oh man, it's going.
I was nervous.
We was what? We was shaking in our boots. So we sitting there. The police came by. He was like, man, you got too many people in the car, right? That's a no-no. And then we was like, man, we sorry, we apologize. We just trying to go down the street. So he tell my boy to get out the car. I said, oh Lord, please not today. My boy come back. He say, "Hey, we cool." He said, "We good." He just wants you to get in the car. I said, "Me?"
Wait.
I said, "Me?" I said, "Why me?" I said, "Why me?" He said, "Man," he just said, "Man, y'all ain't got enough room. You could just sit in this car. It's there." So I got in the car. I sat in the front of the police car. That's when the first time I ever been in a police car. I seen everything. I said, "Oh, so this how y'all work in here?" And he was like, "Man," when I got in there, he was like, "Man, I love watching you play. I just wanted to tell you, I love watching you play. You're an inspiration to this school, to this team, and I just want you to keep doing what you're doing. And, don't ride in cars or it's too full."
He let y'all go.
Yeah, of course. He dropped me off. Let me tell you. I got in the car. We followed them, and he dropped me off. I got dropped off in the police car.
That's wild.
Most niggas go to jail in the police car. I'm getting dropped off.
That didn't do nothing for you, like where you was like, I might be.
What it filled confidence in my whole entire body. It was like, what? Like, even the police like me out here. Like, this is crazy. Like, they love us. You know what I mean? And it's all because we just going hard for them every night.
Yeah,
I loved it. It was amazing.
Man.
It was amazing.
So, CY hits the shot. Campus going crazy. City going crazy.
Insane.
But y'all, like, after that, y'all still keep excelling.
Yeah. So CY hits the shot. We still keep winning. We still, keep rising in the rankings. Keep doing our thing. And then we actually play Kentucky again in the in the NCAA tournament. We end up losing, even though, they shot 45 to our 10 free throws that night. But, it is what it is again. It is what it is. But, we end up losing. But the following year, we was ready, boy. What? Like, the following year, it was like we lost to Kentucky in a Sweet 16. But we were like, but it don't matter because it sucks. But we like, oh, but better believe we going crazy next year. Like, it's not even close. Like, and I remember as soon as the game ended and we lost, the first thing I told myself was, you got 1 year left.
That was like a you thing.
Yeah,
like,
nobody heard me say that to
I'm
myself.
out of here next year.
You got 1 year left because if you get drafted as a senior, they're not going to draft you because you got to be young. They need you to be young in the NBA draft. They don't draft guys who are older because, that's it's
a whole nother story.
Yeah, a whole nother story. That was before Steph Curry. Steph Curry went all 4 years, right? And in college, I think.
Yeah.
So I was before him. No, actually, that might have been after him, excuse me. But again, it's, no comparisons. It's just was different. But anyway, yeah, so I just knew I had 1 more year. And, I wasn't on no draft boards, bro. Nobody was talking about me.
Yeah.
Well, nobody telling me I was going to the league and I had an opportunity. Nobody was saying that. I remember what's crazy is my sophomore year, it was a guy who used to commentate. I'm not going to name his name. But there was a guy who used to commentate on NCAA. And he came to one of our practices. And he was watching us. And TC, after he left, TC brought me in his office like right away after he left.
Yeah.
Like right away. And I'm like, what? He brought me in there. He said, you know what this man just told me? I said, huh? I don't know. I wasn't in here. What'd he tell you? He said, man, I said, what you think about Victor Oladipo? He said, you think he could be a pro? He said, no. He said he do everything else everyone else does. He's just, I think there's 100 other players who are just as athletic, if not more athletic than he is. And he don't really stand out, so he's just going to end up like them, just a solid college player. Boy, I was fuming. Boy, you don't even know me talking about me like that.
When did he say this?
This my sophomore year. This right before my last year of college. Okay. So I just heard that. We lose to Kentucky.
He gave you the big boy chip on your shoulder.
Hold on. The horns start coming out, bro. What?
He gave you the big boy chip on your shoulder.
I said, okay. I remember I called my mama. I said, Mommy, I'm not coming home this summer. She said, what you mean? I said, you won't see me. I said, what you gonna be doing? I said, I'll be in summer school. I'm working on my degree so I can graduate, and I'm gonna be working out down here. So my whole summer before my junior year, I used to work out every single day. And I would work out with myself, or I would work out with Jordan Halls. And Jordan Halls, he led the league. He led the whole country in shooting percentage.
Yeah.
So in 3-point shooting percentage. So we used to do shooting competitions the whole entire summer because he lived in Bloomington. He's from Bloomington.
Oh, wow.
So he was destroying me. But boy, I started getting crazy. My clip started getting crazy. My last year in college, I shot almost 50% from three.
Damn.
So, and I credit him because like losing to him, I got better at shooting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you know, after that summer, you know, what a lot of people don't understand is even in the beginning of that season, my junior year, before I got drafted, I struggled in the first couple of games because I was so overexcited. Like I was, what juices was on. And it got to the point where I remember it was one day because, you know, it's like, man, like, why is it like I'm the first 3 games that going by and I'm sitting there like, why am I struggling? Like, what's going on? Like, why is it and it was I remember I told myself, I said, bro, just go. It's no one in the country that's going to stand in front of you. Just go. And I remember that point on, I said, all right. It was balls to wall, bro. What? It wasn't nobody in the country trying to stay in front of me, bro. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing. And not only that, I was controlling the game defensively with my mind.
Yeah.
That's how I felt out there. Like, it was like, okay, this play I'm getting a steal. Gone. It was like that quick. Like, and for me, you know, it was like an aha moment. Like, okay, just play to my strengths. And in the midst of playing to my strengths, just showing what I've been working on. Yeah. And then, you know, I was still, you know, being myself. And in the midst of being myself, I would hit catch and shoot threes. I would hit a off the dribble 3. And everybody was like, oh, if he could do that, then
he's going to be dangerous.
He's a pro.
So when do you shoot the Sports Illustrated cover?
I shot the Sports Illustrated cover my junior year, and bro, like, you know, I feel like that moment went by so fast, right? Because it was like, first off, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, what? You know, because we got Cody too. Cody was number 4 in my draft. Like, I was 2, he was 4. Like, so I was like, well, you know, at least put us, you know, together. But for some reason, they wanted me on there. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh wow, like, you know, you dream about stuff like that, like, yeah. So it was really cool, you know, to just be in consideration, let alone be able to actually have that.
You felt the stock go up.
What, bro? Like, I remember, I'll never forget it, bro. The day I knew I was a pro was we just had finished playing Michigan State and East Lansing. The week before that, we played Purdue. I sprained my ankle. I missed practice that week. And I was nervous because I was like, man, I ain't getting no reps. You know what I mean? I ain't getting nothing that whole week. I'm just a bum ankle. I gotta chill. I remember the day before the game, I'm feeling a little better, moving a little better, still a little sore. Game time come, you know, I take my little ad lib or something to make it feel a little better. You know what I mean? Aleve, yeah. That's what Aleve. I took a little Aleve. Bro, when I got out there, I totally forgot about my ankle, bro. Yeah, I forgot. After the game, I was like, oh, yeah, I did sprain, bro. I completely forgot, bro. I blacked out, like. And I remember that game, bro. I think I had like 21, and you know, I helped us, you know, get over the hump, and we beat them on the road, and we was number 1 overall in the Big Ten. And the next day, I'm in the training room. You know, I get training. You know, I'm in there. I'm getting treatment the next day. I'm the only one in the training room, and I'm sitting there. Mind you, you know me, I don't watch ESPN. That's not a thing. Like, I'm not watching the commentators or what they have to say. That's not a thing. So I'm sitting there and the TV on loud, so I don't got no choice. And they talking about our game. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear Magic Johnson say, he's just talking about me. And then he say, when he get out, he's for sure going to be a top 5 pick. That's when I was like, I looked up at the television. I said, oh, shit. I called my mom like, man, did you know Magic Johnson just said on TV?
So then, with Magic saying that, and then season over.
The season wasn't over yet. That was early.
I know.
After the
season's over, you still wasn't thinking like, yo, like, even though you wasn't on draft boards. But
I mean, after that moment, I knew. Like, after Magic Johnson said that, I was like, ooh,
I might go.
I might actually go. Like, I might actually be in the NBA draft. Like. And, you know, that's when I was like, because, you know, it's Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson ain't going to say that about,
gonna,
you know what I'm saying?
So I'm wondering,
oh,
like, did you mount up? Like, what was the...
Nah, you know, right that moment, it was like, you know, I would just focus on the season. Like, I didn't really, and even then, you know, I just, you know, I still didn't know. You know, it was just Magic saying it, but that don't make it.
Without you know, like, being on draft boards, where you still, like I might go.
Nah,
like,
I really didn't pay attention to the boards. Like, I really didn't pay attention.
Not even the boards, though,
like,
but just, like, did like... During the time, did you get an agent and like?
Nah, I don't think you were. I don't necessarily know if you were allowed to back then, bro. I don't think you was allowed to get an agent.
So you didn't
at
get
that
your
age
agent
till after I
signed.
graduated. Like that was when I was allowed to. I think back then. Like I don't even think. Like now, I think it might be a little different. Like
yeah, but you graduated.
I graduated. And then I turned 20, and then the next week was draft day. Mm-hmm. And then that's when, during that 2-week span of me graduating and getting to the draft, is when I picked my agent.
But you had your agent before you got drafted.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Man, it was unbelievable, you know, and you know, what to kind of bring it full circle, what a lot of people don't know is when I was very, very young and I first told my mom, like after that experience when I was in elementary school about basketball, she had told me, she said, you know what's crazy is when I was pregnant with you and your sister, I had a dream about Hakeem Olajuwon giving me an autograph signed basketball and handing it to me. And she was like, I don't think that was for anything. I think that means that you should be playing the game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, cool, like, dope. But if you know our culture, if you're not a lawyer, if you're not a doctor, if you're not doing something of that prestige, then especially back then, it wasn't really, people don't really think it was anything big, like, because the likelihood of it happening at all is just slim to none, especially if you're not highly recruited, if you're not highly looked at, if you're not on draft boards. Like, people ain't thinking that that's what's about to happen for you. You know what I mean? Like, to the point where my mom used to tell the story, because, you know, as I got older, I just kept telling people that's all I wanted to do. My uncle put a cord out on in his driveway. Like, then every time we would go over there, I was only shooting on that. I was shooting on that all day, all night long. Like, and to the point where my mom used to tell the story, and I used to tell her, like, man, can you stop telling this story? Like, like, what's wrong? Like, why you keep telling this story? Like, I mean, like, people clearly is like, I guess, like, because people knowing, like, bro, it's like 1 in a zillion for you to
right,
get,
right,
you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
So to fast forward to draft day. So me, I was blessed to get drafted number 2 by the Orlando Magic in the 2013 draft. That was Dave Stern. That's his name, Dave Stern.
Yeah, Dave Stern.
Yeah, that was his last draft, I believe. That was the commissioner before Adam Silver. And I remember walking across stage and giving them a handshake, then going to the back and doing media. And then as I'm doing media, we finish up media, I'm walking back to the green room, because in the green room, that's where my family was. So I'm walking to them. And then as I'm walking towards them to the green room, my family, my sisters is coming towards me. And I see my mom, and in the green room, they separated each table with a basketball with your name on it. So my mom had the ball in her hand, but my mom, I'm looking at her, and she looked like she tripping, like she's like frantic like, I'm like, what's going on? And my sister, my twin, say, Vic, look, Hakeem the Dream. And I turned to my right, bro, and it's Hakeem Olajuwon standing right there. I immediately thought about the dream. My mom had told me that dream when I was 4 years old.
That's crazy. That's
so that's supernatural. So I immediately thought about the dream, and I'm like, my heart drops to my stomach. I'm not knowing why he there, what he doing there. I'm just like, what? So my mom freaking out. My mom like, I gotta see him. I gotta talk to him. I gotta see him. I gotta talk to him. He was at the time, he was talking to Anthony Bennett, so we had to kind of wait, who was the number 1 pick at the time. So when he finished talking to Anthony Bennett, we walk up to him, and my mom's like, can you sign this basketball and kind of, you know, solidify the dream God has sent me when I had him with his sister? And he took the ball, he signed it, Hakeem the Dream, and handed it to her, and I seen it with my own two eyes.
That's incredible. That's
and then he
that's
took me,
unreal.
Yeah. Then he took me to the side and he gave me some advice. He said, "You playing for something bigger now. You playing for your country. And you got to make sure that you do all the other things that he told me to do to help myself improve." So, it's so funny. I feel like, in my career, I got to the point where I had told that story before when I was on the Magic. And it kind of felt like, people didn't care to me. People didn't think that it meant anything. People thought I might have been lying, or people thought I might have made that up. And now I'm at a point where I really don't care what people think. I'm at that point now.
Yeah.
So, and my understanding of who I am and where I'm at gives me a better understanding of the power that I have within me and why that happened to me to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, sharing it and hearing it, and every time I share it, it still amazes me, and I still feel the moment when I first seen him, and I was like, man, what is going on? Like, how is this even possible? So fast forward, a week go by, I'm going to go get my hair cut. And all of a sudden, I just started thinking about that moment. Like, bro, it was so bad. I was supposed to turn up. I was supposed to party after. I couldn't even do anything, bro. I was in so much of a shock that I was in the car, I was just sitting there like, how? So a week later, I'm thinking about it. I called my mom. I said, man, like, that don't freak you out? Like, that don't. She was like, no, you were destined. That's what God called you to do. So in my mind, I'm like, me, I'm like, nah, I need more than this. That's my mama been saying that for centuries. She been saying that for my whole life. So I started doing background story. David Stern, that was his last draft. So he didn't call no more drafts after that.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why Hakeem Olajuwon was there was to honor David Stern. They brought his very first ever draft pick, which was Hakeem Olajuwon. If I had got it drafted my freshman year or my sophomore year or even my senior year, I wouldn't have seen Hakeem Olajuwon.
Dang.
So everything happens for a reason. That's why I'm sitting here preaching. Like, you guys not you guys, but, I just preach like, bro, your story is your story. Like, it's no one else. There's no one else that can really guide you, but the trust that you have within you that guides you, So, that just, that's VO. That's a little bit of how I kind of got to being the number 2 pick, and, what had happened in that moment. And it was surreal. It was unbelievable. Like, to go from, not knowing or not even
but
thinking.
Not knowing no draft boards to number 2 is like.
No, only one college offer coming out of high school. I wasn't the best on the team. I got an offer taken away. I got benched. I got benched again in college. Then eventually.
So you get drafted.
Boom.
So then you get drafted by Orlando, and
it was different, P.
Are you like, you just happy to be in the league? Or are you like,
I'm nervous as a mug, bro. I was very, very nervous. Like, it's like going into, I was, a dream. But, when I got there, you got to think at IU even, I wasn't necessarily playing the 1 or the 2. I was the 3. I started next to Yogi Ferrell and Jordan Halls. So I was playing off ball when I got to the league, they were like, play the 1. Now, if it was the 2, it might have been different, but it was like, play the 1. I have never played the point guard position in my entire life.
Right.
So it was, it was a new, like, I had to readjust my whole game, my whole everything. Like, it was different. It was like, okay, I can't come down and just focus on just going. I have to come down and make sure everyone's in their spots, make sure I know the play, make sure. So it was a bit of an adjustment, and, it wasn't like now. Like, I watch now, and, number 2 picks, number 1 picks, lottery picks, they starting right away. Yeah. Some of them, especially if they 1 or 2, Me, I had to, kind of come off the bench and, come into a situation that was a little different, and even then it didn't necessarily get easier because, during that time we was young, we all wanted to be the guy. So there was a little bit of clash, and during that period, we had 4 coaches in 3 years. So it was like every year we were learning a new system. Every year we were trying to adjust, and we had great moments though. We had some big time moments, big time games. I myself had some big time games in Orlando, and I know the fans still love and remember it too. And unfortunately, because again, like, bro, I'm gonna be honest, like, growing up, I'm seeing KDs, I'm seeing number 2 picks, I'm seeing how they treating them, and it just felt like that's what I was expecting when I got there, and it just felt like kind of the complete opposite. And maybe I was wrong, maybe I wasn't wrong, but from the fans' perspective, or the person who's not in the locker room and not knowing, I didn't really know what to expect until I got there. And then once I got there, it wasn't what I expected.
It wasn't what you expected, because
it just wasn't like, bro, just go out there and just make as many mistakes you can, and it's fine. And if you do, it's fine still. We believe in you. We drafted you. We want you here. We're going to build around you. I got traded after my 3rd year there. So, it wasn't really like, I didn't even get, I didn't get no extension. It wasn't none of that. It was just, see you later. Like, we're going to go with this guy over you. And I still really don't understand why, but it turned out great for me, so I don't take nothing personal, now, because I've kind of lived life.
That when you got drafted to Orlando, you didn't start?
No, not right away. No, I didn't start right away. It took a little time that year. I started towards the end of the year, yeah. But it took a little time. I didn't start right away. But my adversary, I guess you would call him, Michael Carter-Williams, who won Rookie of the Year, he started as soon as he got there. As soon as he got to Philly, he started day one. In his first game, he had a triple-double versus Bron and D-Wade. So, I'm not saying that to say, that's what I kind of treatment I needed. But, I thought that might have been something like I would have,
At the end of the year, did you think you should have been the Rookie of the Year? Yeah,
I still do. Yeah, I do. Only because, like, I don't think they ended up having a better record than us. I could be mistaken. I got to look at it. But also, I just felt like I was better, which, you got to respect me for. But, I just wasn't given the same opportunity. Yeah. And I think that goes without saying in our league. I think that's a big reason why some guys are better than other guys.
So you played in Orlando for 3 years, and then they trade you to OKC.
Mm-hmm.
They trade you. You don't know. You just kind of like hear it.
When I land, I was on a plane. It's my 3rd year. It's funny too. I remember the day I knew I was going to get traded too. It was right before the day I flew. I knew it. I just knew it because I'm an empath, brother. So I feel life. So some people don't know how to cover it up. Like they don't know how to. Oh, right, I'm gonna be nice to you either way, even though we're about to get rid of you. So the day before they got rid of me, I went in there, and it was written all over everybody's face. So when I left, I was like, when I be getting that eerie feeling, I'll be right. So, I knew it was over, kind of, sort of. I still had faith. And then I was on a plane, and I landed, and then I was gone. And I remember I had to come back because I had just bought a crib in Orlando. So when I got there, I remember I parked in the driveway. I was crying in the driveway, like, because I thought, getting traded was like a sign of like, we don't want you. It's a sign of disrespect. It's a sign like you ain't good enough, and you the number 2 pick getting traded. You know what I mean? So it just wasn't something I was really used to. Then I got to OKC, and, it was cool. It was fun. Like, it was my first time being a part of a winning situation. Like, in the last 3 years, we didn't win. So when I got to, OKC, it was winning culture. They had been to multiple Western Conference Finals. They just had KD. I thought I was going to be able to play with KD, but he ended up going to the Warriors. But, I still got to play with Russ. That was a great experience. And,
what was Russ like when you get there? Is he welcoming?
Excuse me, what? Bro.
I know, but I gotta ask.
Bro. Bro. Like what? Like he was more than welcoming. It's like he is an amazing human, man. Like he's like one of my favorite people on earth, you know, like, but he hit me up before I even got to OKC. And I went to LA to work out with him before I even put on a jersey.
Did y'all go work out with Noah?
Yeah, we was working out with Noah.
That is hilarious.
We was working out with Noah.
Noah
That's when I first met Noah.
Shout out Noah.
Shout out Noah. That was my first time ever meeting Noah. And me and him went hard, bro. Like, we went hard. Playing ones, playing against each other, working out, pushing each other. It kind of segued to the season after that.
How long did you play in OKC?
Just 1 year, and I got traded again.
So he won the MVP that year.
Yeah, it was incredible. He was incredible that year.
You think that did something to you? Like, you learned from that?
Yes, I think it did for sure.
Playing with them.
Yeah, it gave me two things, two gems. One, it gave me the ability to see what it takes to even be that type of caliber of player. Mm-hmm. Like him having his specific routines, the specific way he does things, and how that makes him know that he's prepared to play. Mm-hmm. And then two, it gave me the ability to feel like, you know what, I think I could have the same ability and same talent. Like, if I just work on myself, if I change the way I look, if I change my body to complement me more, or, you know, do something, you know, and I remember going into that year, it was like, you know what, I'm gonna come back way better, because, you know, that year we lost in the first round of the playoffs to Houston 4-1, and I wasn't very good. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it really bothered me, because I was hearing like, they paid you all this money, you ain't doing nothing. And it was like, man, like, if people understood the concept of basketball and what goes into it, and they just don't say things to appease to fans or to make it dramatic or make it, you know, Hollywood in a sense, then I think people will understand why certain people don't have good outings or good games or good, you know, if you really truly knew the game. But that's a whole nother story. But it made me upset. And, you know, that summer, you know, I was already locked in. You know, I was like, I'm coming back. You know, shoot, me and Russ gonna be MVP next year. Like right. That. And then, you know, I ended up getting traded for Paul George.
But look.
Which, I mean, hey, it's Paul, so God. You know.
When they give you the deal, when they offer you the $84 million, were you surprised, or did you feel like you deserved it? I feel like I deserved more. You felt like you deserved more than that? Yeah, I feel like I deserved more, but, you know. And was it based on your play, or was it based on like you feeling like I just knew like, you know, I knew if I signed that deal, they was gonna hold me to that standard of person. Like, I was just gonna be the guy who gets 80, not the guy who's $100 million man, $100 million player. You know what I'm saying? I was the guy just under that, which nah, that's not who I am. Like, it's not. It's just even though I tried to be, and even though, you know, I played that role to get to that point, I was never that. That's why I was able to get there to begin with from nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and, you know, it is what it is now, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I didn't really want to sign it because I wanted more. I wanted to be looked at as that type of caliber player, and I didn't want them to kind of hold it over my head that's what, and that was my standard, you know? So it was like, you know what, it's cool though. You know, I want 100+ million, man. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I wanted it to be 100+. I wanted to be 100+. I wanted to be I wanted to be a max. That's 84 million wasn't a max. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I wanted a max. I felt like I was a max guy. Like, even though we lost in Orlando, bro, I was still getting 30s, 40s. I was doing that. I was getting numbers, bro, triple doubles and everything, hitting game winners and game tires and everything. Bro, I was still doing that, bro. Like, you know, it wasn't the height of social media, but, you know, it was. I was still doing it. Yeah, so you were still doing your thing. And so, but, you know, it didn't. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but fortunately, I signed it. I signed the deal anyway. You know, and the reason why I had signed it was because I was like, man, you know, I could take care of my family forever with this 80 million. So I felt like, you know what, I'm gonna just put them before myself. And as I do so many times with just others before myself in general. So I just took it, and I was like, you know what, F it. And then also, you know, from mentors and people I was asking around, it was like, man, you know, just take it. You know, you don't know what could happen in the future. Like, you know, you could get hurt. You know, I was just like, well, it's funny, you know, that ended up being my reflection, because, you know, like, why even bring that into the equation? Why even think about that? Why even put that in
in a 20-year-old's head. You know what I'm saying? A 21-year-old's head. Like, why even think that? Why? You don't believe that you'll be able to stay healthy for them? You know, but anyway, it's just, you know, it is what it is. I'm thankful I signed it. I'm thankful that it was worked out for me. Yeah.
I mean,
and then even after that, I still went to Indy, and I still was like, even after that, my performance the first year there is like, this clearly the 80 is a steal.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like, but I was.
So when you, you get traded, and it's like, you have the whole summer to like train, and this is the summer that you're talking about where you're thinking you're about to go back to OKC,
but I end up going to Indy. Mm-hmm.
And do you know, like, okay, they're gonna give me the keys?
Yeah, because they was telling me, kind of like Johnson told me when I was 16 and under, kind of like TC told me my last year in college. It was like, because for me, you know, I come from a respectful home. Like, you got to respect your elders. You can't talk out of line. You got to respect your coaches, and you got to be coachable. You got to. So, you know, unless a coach was telling me go get it, I was a shadow out there. I was just playing. Whatever. I was just doing my role. But, you know, and as soon as a coach told me we need you and go lead us, it was on and popping, brother, from start to finish. And Indy, you know, as soon as I came in, it was like, it's your team. And that's the first time I had heard that in my whole career. Yeah. Even when I went to Orlando, they weren't telling me it was my team. Yeah. That wasn't a thing, you know. But when I got to Indy, it was like, it's your team. This your show. Like we need you. It's like, oh, yeah.
So was it like an exciting moment, or was it like a nervous moment where it was like, oh, shit, okay, this is about to be.
It was both. It was like, because I ain't going to lie, I was pissed. Like, I felt disrespected.
That they traded you.
Yeah. You know, I felt disrespected that I got traded twice in a year. Like, it's like, why y'all tossing me around like some rag doll? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm not that bad. We're not doing that.
Because is this like at a time where maybe like your peers are like staying on one team, or not your peers, but the guys you look
everybody
up to?
On teams, period. It wasn't like, you know,
like because
guys weren't getting traded.
Kobe stayed with the Lakers, and
yeah, you know, guys just weren't getting. I just looked at it like, if I got traded, that means that, you know, that you weren't wanted.
Didn't want me.
You don't want it. You're not wanted, and which is, I mean, essentially that's what that means. Yeah. Like, we don't want you, and someone else is going to take you.
Yeah.
Like, and so for me, I just felt like, you know what, like, y'all got to stop.
This time period is like the time where I meet you.
Yeah, you meet me around that time.
Yeah, I meet you at this time when you're training to go to Indy.
Yep, that's when you meet me.
Not knowing none of this stuff.
You didn't know
I don't
nothing
know
about
nothing about basketball.
Nothing.
Really, like, I'm not knowing that they gonna.
You don't know nothing.
Gonna be the team. I don't know nothing. Like, I'm just like the homie that's just like. I seen the summer though. If he does anything that he's been doing on the court in the summer in the games, I don't see how it's not gonna be really, really good. I think. Without even like really being like, you know, familiar with like your game or
or anything really.
That was a surreal
experience, I'm sure, brother.
That was a surreal experience. I mean, I think it was a surreal experience for you too. Just
it was.
I mean, because that summer, you know, I remember vividly like us walking around New York. Like, we would be in Whole Foods, like, and no one would be like, "Oh, it's Victor Oladipo." Like, "Oh, it's Victor." We would walk freely through places. Like, it would be rare where people would be like, "Hey, like, let me get a picture. Let me," you know what I mean? Like. And then
that shit flipped.
I experienced like
that shit flipping.
Like fairly quickly, the season started, and quickly the arena was filled with like, you knew like, oh no, they came to see Vic.
They came to see the show, man.
And like that was like my introduction to like
the greatest showman.
You know what I mean? That's like, and it was like, that is the only Vic that I know.
Yeah. And
is the All-Star Vic, the Vic.
But you know what's funny? That's the only Vic that's in me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I say that to say like, bro, that's the standard I hold myself at. Like, and I don't think anyone could play this game if you don't. Like, right. And a lot of players do. Like,
right.
And you know, that's just, it's just real. Like, but bro, like, that's who I am, bro. I'm, you know, that's you know, that the reason why I was successful when we did it for the first time was because I was meant to. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's why it was successful. You know what I mean? Like I was made for it. My soul was built for that role. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, it was like, you know, going into that situation, especially that knowing that the fact that everybody want me to just go, and you know, I don't have to worry about if I'm doing too much, if I'm doing too less, if I got to do this, if I got to do that. You know, it was on, and I was at everybody's neck.
What was it like having this super green light? What do you call it?
Freedom!
But no, we be watching the games and you be like,
freedom!
oh, bro got the super green light. Like he got the neon. Then you got the neon.
Bro, it's nothing like having that neon light, bro. It's nothing like having that light, like being able to come down and really you dictate offense. Like you dictate how aggressive you want to, you dictate pace, you dictate offense, it's nothing like that when you know, and you know every night, the scouting report, they trying to lock you up every night. Like, bro, it's nothing like it, bro. It's like, you got me excited just thinking about it. Like,
So you got the neon, and then it's All-Star voting time.
Mm-hmm.
And are you thinking like, I'm gonna make the team?
Yeah, I knew already. Honestly, I you know what's crazy? Before any practice had started, I had called Kingston. Shout out to Kingston. I called Kingston. I told him, I said, you know, this year gonna be different, bro. Oh yeah, how so, bro? How you like? You know how bro go.
We gonna have him on the show.
We got to one time.
Sure.
And I told him, I said, you know, it's just gonna be different. I just feel it. And you know, I honestly after the first 10 games, I already knew I was going. You know what I mean? And then there was a stretch in December where, you know, Bron and them was going on a run. And then they had won like 13 straight.
Yeah.
And then they came and played us. And we beat them. And I think I had 33, at 20 in the third. And then after that, I was like, oh, yeah, I think for sure I got a chance to go. Mm-hmm. So it was a blessing, bro. It was crazy, like going into that environment and I was able to sit next to Kev and LeBron, and you know, and going in the locker room, and the first thing that these dudes are saying, Curry, Bron, KD, it's about time. Like, you know, that's a crazy feeling. That's a crazy like reassurance. Like everything I was telling myself is true. I am
like,
that.
Man,
I am
tripping.
That guy. Yeah, I am.
I wasn't
that guy.
tripping that year. Man, you was in a dunk contest in the All-Star game.
Yeah, Black Panther mask.
I remember like
I was tired.
We went to every event.
What?
Man.
I was tired. That was not it. I should have asked around before or something.
Yeah, you probably should have asked
tired.
I could tell like when you went to dunk practice.
I did not want to do it.
Yeah, you was just like not into it. Almost like to a point where like we left there not really having like a solid dunk that was just like, I'm gonna do this dunk and then I'm gonna do this. It was just like,
I was so
you just
exhausted.
wanted to get through it. You was just like,
I was so tired from the whole season, going to All-Star. Like I was like, man, listen, I shouldn't. I mean, you know, it was too late to pull out. You know, so
yeah,
I just went in there. Like, you know, the best part about the whole entire contest was I got to meet my boy.
Yeah, Chad.
Yeah, Chad. Mm-hmm. So rest in peace,
Chad,
my brother.
That was a surreal moment.
It was incredible, bro. Like, it was crazy. Like, for him to even want to be a part of that and pass me the mask and take the time to talk to me. And, you know, I had seen him some weeks later in Brooklyn at a Nets game, I think, or something like that. And we was talking like we was boys. Like, we knew each other for our whole life. It was just like, bro. And then a couple weeks later, bro, a year later maybe, he was gone. It was wild, but yeah, it's awesome to see the impact that he had and then still be a part of that impact that he had. You know, I think that's really cool. So
yeah, no, that was that. But those were like surreal moments. You know what I mean? Like I never forget, like, you know, us going to see Domas. He was in the international game. You know,
I wore his jersey.
Yeah,
that was fun.
And then we met Jamie Foxx
on the way
day.
in. We were walking in and Jamie walking out, and I sang my song for Jamie.
Yeah, he had the backpack that had the
speaker. He played my song on the speaker. What?
I still had a video.
He not knowing. Well, I used to sing Jamie every day in college. He don't even know he's like my favorite human.
No, he was telling him like, he was like, what? I'm a big fan of yours too. He was like, watch, I'm gonna play your song.
And he played the song on the speaker.
Like,
I couldn't believe it.
I was like, oh, that's tough. Man.
Incredible, man. What?
And then we yeah, that was a fun weekend, man.
What?
That was fun. And then, you know, like the season went on, you know, you would go to the games and it'd just be like a stadium full of Oladipo jersey. It was just like, was like, and then like that was my first time. I was like, it just felt good to be
loved.
Like, yeah, it was just like, wow, like these people are here to see my friend. You know what I mean? Like it was.
It's crazy. I bet it's wild.
I couldn't believe it. Like it was surreal.
Bro, like the best feeling in the world, I tell you all the time, is like, it's like getting called last. Like, even though it's minuscule, but hearing your name in the starting lineups and then hearing the applause, it's like it bring chills down my. I still got videos of that. Just that alone was enough to get me turned up.
I'm not even gonna lie, man, and I know. I'm not gonna say his name, but there was like, cause you know, I really didn't like. Of course I watched basketball, but not in the way that I was watching it with you guys. We're like, we're watching every game. We're like, you know, just like analyzing every play, and I'm being introduced as my friend. Like it's the whole thing. Like everybody wearing his jersey. He get announced last. It's his team. So then they start meeting other guys, and they're like, oh yeah, you want to come to the game? I'm like, yeah, I'll come to the game. Like, why not? And I know it's like naive, but I was thinking that was gonna happen for him, like that I was gonna go to the game and like, cause he asked me to come to his game, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking,
you thought that, cause especially if you don't know, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know. So I'm thinking like,
you thought he was gonna get the same experience.
I thought he was gonna be, you know, like,
nah,
they did the starting lineup.
Nah, people don't.
They didn't announce bro name.
Everybody don't get the same
like,
opportunity, man.
I was just kind of like, well, why you ask me to come to the game then? Just being honest, I was just like, why you ask me to come?
I mean, you know, it's different for everybody.
He played, you feel me? But it was like, it was
different.
It was different.
It was different.
So, you know, I mean, you guys go to the playoffs, and y'all
take Bron to 7 first round.
Well, we just gonna say y'all playing Bron. Y'all playing Cleveland, but y'all playing Bron.
Yeah, we playing Bron in Cleveland.
So, I remember, you know, we what's that hotel? Four Seasons.
Yeah.
So we in the Four Seasons.
That's where we was living for.
We was lit. We was camped out at that joint. Let me tell you this how unfamiliar I was about basketball. Let me tell you. So there was this guy. I'm just gonna say there was this guy at first. And he had this like dye, and he had the chains, and he was sitting courtside, and Keith was like, yeah, this dude, like, he wanted to do a label, you know, and he want to talk to you about music. And I was like, oh, okay. So I thought he was a rapper, and it was Dennis Schroeder.
Oh no, nah, he not a rapper.
And I was like,
shout out to Dennis. What
day, me and Dennis talked till like 6 a.m. about all kinds of stuff.
I know.
You know, I just remember after that series, then we went outside. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was different.
It was way different.
Different.
Yeah.
I think I don't know when our first time actually going outside was, but I do remember like being in Vegas, and it was like, yeah, it was
left and right people stopping me.
We was kind of like not
normal,
used to it. Like we was like,
what is going on?
Like it had to start being like security implemented. Like it was like, oh shit, like, you know, it was so surreal. I mean, you know, you experience it all. Like, you know, we would show up to Benihana's, they'd be closed, and then they'd be like, oh, it's Vic. Oh yeah, come on. we finna cook you up something.
Even if it was closed.
Even if it was closed.
Yeah, it's love. That's what happened when you love. And I think people love watching me play because I play with a certain spirit and joy for it. And I think people feel it when they see me, like, and when they see me play, when I'm healthy, especially, Lord have mercy, yeah, they gonna feel it for real. Like,
yeah.
But I think that's why people enjoyed it, and you know, there's a lot left. I can't wait to show them more.
So Game 7 versus LeBron, you dropped 36 and 12. Talk about Game 7.
That was my first ever Game 7, and you know, I was scared shitless. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I wasn't scared. I was just nervous. You know what I'm saying? When I say that, like, it was Cleveland had it blacked out in there. It felt like we was in a dungeon. You know,
the intro was
super
like
fire.
Yeah.
And then I remember, you know, coming out in the first half, I only had 5 points, and you know, we was down at half, and I remember at halftime or during the game, I think Corey Joe had missed a shot or something. Kojo, shout out to Kojo. He had missed a shot, and Kojo like, man, fuck, bro, I just missed that motherfucker, man. My bad. I said, man, F that. Keep shooting, niggas. Game 7. Don't nobody care about if you miss.
Right.
He said, damn, you right. Don't worry, I'm gonna make the next one. I remember the next time I got a possession, I kicked it to Kojo. Kojo hit that one. I was like, oh yeah, we on. We on
it's
now.
Time.
Yeah, it's time. Halftime, I came out that joint and had 26 and a half.
Me.
Going crazy. And then, you know, down the stretch, Bron had even went to the back, bro. Bron had went to the locker room because he started cramping up because he was dehydrated. Like, we had him, and then, you know, Coach took me out during that time. And, you know, without LeBron, they went on an 8-0 run, and then we never caught up. So one time Jeff Green want to hit 2 tray balls. Thanks, Jeff. I love you, but thanks.
Thanks,
you could have
brother.
hit them joints later, but you just had to.
So to play when he goaltends or not goaltends.
That was in Game 5 before Game 6.
But you think it was a goaltend?
I mean, yeah, it was. It was. And if you show the replay, it's a goaltend. It's just, you know, it is what it is.
So you guys would have won the series.
I think we would have won if we would have won Game 5. Because they wasn't beating us Game 6, not at home. Not happening.
Yeah.
Not at home. They wouldn't beat us.
Yeah, man.
In my opinion.
Do you think that if you guys would have beat Cleveland, you guys would have went all the way?
Yeah, I think we would have had so much. We would have been so turned up and hype. We would have just went on a crazy run.
So, you know, after it's like you're on a high.
Super high.
Super high. You know what I mean? Like, I remember looking at lists of like top 50 even.
Yeah, I was 15.
You'd be like 15, 13 on some lists.
Yeah. First team all defense, third team all NBA, led the league in steals.
We go to Santa Monica and go to NBA awards. You win most improved
player.
And there's some, you know, after winning most improved, a lot of those guys on that list
usually win MVP after that.
Exactly. So it was like your trajectory was there. And then, you know, we're excited. We do the summer routine, but you go right back in
to working out.
Yeah, like you go right back in the gym, no real rest.
Yeah, which I probably, if I was looking at it, I probably shouldn't have done, right? But I mean, it's easy to say that now, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to say I shouldn't have done this because I know what happens after that, right?
Right.
You know, I just feel like, you know, I don't think I was doing anything I didn't already do. You know what I mean? I was working out prior to that. It's just that maybe I think about it because we, you know, as people, we want to go back and think, well, what could we have done differently? What can we learn from now? And maybe after that long, hard year of being a guy, maybe I should have took a little longer break before I actually started, you know, activity. But for me, I didn't feel like I was doing anything I wasn't already doing.
So, did you guys have any inkling that your knee was hurt, or you were hurt?
So I had that summer, you know, there's a play actually, if you go look at it, where, you know, like there's a steal and Lance throws it to me and I dunk it backwards and I kind of land weird on my right leg. And I kind of had felt like some shit in my knee, but, I kept playing. It felt normal. I had normal tendonitis. I felt like even in high school, though, I was dealing with tendonitis. And, I thought that was just because I was growing, I'm not knowing, so, going into Indy, it was like, they was asking me, they were saying like, oh, look, we getting MRIs like you do on most teams, saying you got some, wear and tear on your knees, and you want to get stem cells to kind of cover it up, coat it up, or whatever, or it works with something, but they convinced me to get it. I tried it out. They said, they told me there was going to be no harm. Like there was no side effects. Like there's no harm done if you do it, obviously, later in life, 6 years, 7 years later, you find out you shouldn't stick a needle in your tendon, but, it is what it is, it is what it is. But, later on, I was good though after that. I played the whole first year, and then, it seemed like even the start of the following year, I was good. And I remember it was, I think it was in either December or November of the following year, my first year in Indy. We playing Philly on ESPN. I have a good game, but we end up losing. The next day, my knees was on fire, bro. Super fire for some reason, just out of nowhere. I'm not knowing what's going on. So the next day, I'm like, you know what? We have a couple of days off the next couple of days. I'm like, I'm gonna be straight, So we take a couple of days off, and then I'm coming in the arena and we have a back-to-back. We play Miami and Atlanta. I come in the arena and we play in Miami. I'm like, all right, it's not bad. I'm feeling cool. I'm feeling good. Then when I started playing in the game versus Miami, I wasn't feeling right, bro. It just wasn't feeling like, it didn't feel like it didn't feel like I didn't feel anything. It didn't hurt, but it just didn't, I wasn't feeling like myself. So the next day I came in and I was like, I ain't playing. So, but when I walked in, they was kind of like, you can't decide that. We gotta at least do treatment on you, and you gotta try before you say you can't play. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, I'm not trying to go against nobody. I want straight respect and love. So, I try to play. I go out there, I do my pregame warm-up. I feel all right because, in a pregame warm-up, you're not moving the same speed as a game. Mm-hmm. So I go out there, and then the first play of the game, Kemp Bazemore hit me. Boom, I land on my right knee. Boom, my shit tweaked. My shit just started ringing. And I'm like, it's over. So I walked to the locker room first, and I said, man, I knew I shouldn't have effing played. And, at that point on, I just had problems ever since. I had problems. It took me like a month and a half to actually get back. They was telling me it was tendonitis, but for some reason, but even when I was coming back, bro, I was still moving crazy though. Like jumping off this leg, dunking on people, putting bodies, and maybe not. I shouldn't have. Maybe that's what I should have been doing, but as far as training, I probably shouldn't have been loading it the way I was loading it. It was just straight knee tendon load, low, and then on top of that, going in the game, load until, we playing the Raptors in Indy, and during that time, I'm dealing with this. Like you said, I just had a great year, and I'm trying to show people that year wasn't no fluke at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
So, going through that, not being able to play. Then when you come back, it's like, they're not giving you the same treatment. They telling you all of a sudden, it's not, nobody telling me it's my team. It's like, now go sit in the corner. And it was like, man, well, when you get that adjustment, it's kind of like, that hits home. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
You go from it's your team, you're the guy to.
So they was telling you
in the offense, I was getting the ball less, and doing less, and sitting in the corner more. And this is before I actually had torn it completely. This is when it took me weeks. Like at one point, my mentor hit me and said, like, why are you out this long? It don't take this long for no tendonitis, bro.
Yeah.
So, you know, and at that point, it was like, but you know, I'm talking to the team trainers and doctors. They telling me, you know, every Monday my knee's getting better, my knee is healing, my knee is improving. Like, I'm asking, it's not like I'm just sitting there just going for, I'm asking, like, so what does it say? What is it doing? What do I need to do? Like, and they're telling me, like, do these extra load with this, you know, load, do this in the weight room, and they showing me the ultrasound on Mondays, telling me, you know, it's getting better. But I don't know if not necessarily was feeling like myself.
So when they're telling you getting better, are you feeling better?
Even if I'm not, brother, I'm telling myself I am. You know what I mean? Because I don't. Because not only that, you know, they you know, during that time, I'm trying to do whatever it takes to heal, and they telling me that sometimes you can mentally block yourself from healing. So for me, it was like, I'm not about to be the one blocking myself from healing, man. My mental is, man, I'm getting better.
So they was telling you that your injury was in your head.
Yeah.
Or
man,
could be
I could be me preventing myself from actually healing. So for me, it was like, it was like, okay, it could be a mental thing. It could be something that I'm not
so
stimulating.
So then you come back, you do like, so you kind of like do
this is before I go. Yeah, before I tore my quad, I come back, playing, doing my thing, whatever. It's there are some games where I could barely do the movements like to warm up when I'm still playing, and I'm still, you know, doing my thing, because, you know, I'm improving, right? So they telling me the only way to get your tendon to feel better is you got to load it. So basketball is a part of loads, you know. So it's like, okay, so I'm not, you know, doing anything crazy, right? So, you know, during that time I was also having some, you know, my mom was luckily nothing serious, but was going through some medical stuff, and we wasn't sure what was going on. On top of that, I was having injuries. On top of that, it was, you know, just a bunch of stuff that was going on. But, you know, that game before, you know, I had came back a few weeks, and we played the Raptors at home. And I remember, because you got to think, I'm when you're an empath, you don't have to. I don't have to talk and ask. You guys tell me. You tell me with your body language. You tell me with how you treat me. You tell me with the words you're saying. I already know what's going on. I just don't speak on it. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
So, you know, I already knew how, you know, things were kind of changing, and, you know, I felt like people was filling me with bullshit. Now it's like, man, like, you coming into an environment, it was like, man, I thought I trusted the situation I was in, but I don't necessarily know what I'm in or what I'm doing now, you know. And then, you know, after that, it was like, you know, we playing a game, and, you know, I come out because I get in foul trouble, and I remember multiple times getting hit in this knee. You know what I mean? Like, and I remember I'm running back on defense. I shoot a shot, it comes off long. Kyle Lowry rebounds it, outlets it to Pascal Siakam. I'm running back, and as I'm trying to leap to go to steal the ball, I just keep falling forward. You was there. You was there. My mama was there.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was like, I remember tumbling over, and it just felt like my knee fell off my body and dropped to the ground. Damn. I thought my leg was off. I thought my leg fell off at first. And then I remember tumbling around and moving my knee pad over my knee, and then seeing a big ass gap between, you know, my kneecap. And, you know, I remember it like it was yesterday, just sitting there and getting on the stretcher. And, you know, I'm not knowing because I'm on the stretcher. And then I remember seeing a replay of my mom reach out for me, and the lady's like push my mom's hand back. And I remember, you know, going back to the back, going to the x-ray room. And as soon as my mama walked in, just start crying. As soon as I was good too, I seen my mama walked in, I just started crying. And the first thing my mom told me was like, don't worry, son, God's just trying to test us. And, you know, I say that because, bro, I live by that shit to this day, bro. Like, because it didn't get any easier for me after that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm at a point where I believe, like, you don't have to believe what I believe. Like, I'm not here to make you believe what I believe in. but I'm here to show you what I believe, the power of what I believe that's in me. And I just know, like, you know, I wasn't intended, that's not how my story was intended to end, the way it's been going. Like, people don't understand, ever since that injury, I've been dealing with injury. It's not Victor's been 100%, you know. It's not Victor's been 100% playing. Like, in Miami, I was playing because I love the game and I love the city, and I love, most importantly, playing in that arena in front of those fans. You know, I love it. So that's why I was playing. And also because, you know, I just felt like, you know, unfortunately, you know, when you get hurt, you kind of are looked at different, treated differently, you know. Yeah. So I was just trying to give myself as much opportunity as possible.
So you get hurt, you know, and you have to, you know, get surgery. Obviously, you go get into rehab. You know, you do your rehab, and you know, then you come back.
Yeah.
And then,
but you know what's funny is too, to be honest, like, and I don't, again, I'm not here to blame anyone for anything. Like, I don't blame no one for nothing. In fact, I thank everybody for doing their best. You know me. Yeah. I thank everybody for doing their best, because the best is all you could do. Because this injury is rare, like, especially the quad tendon tear. You rarely see that in the NBA. Like, you see it, but you rarely see it at all. So if there was a situation where, you know, I don't think anybody really knew what to do. Yeah. You know, even the people in charge of being medically inclined to make decisions for me, like, it was a lot, you know what I mean, for everybody. Yeah,
I didn't know if you wanted to get into the surgery talk of it
of him doing it wrong.
I mean, or just like, you know, I mean, him, you know, him saying that.
We could tell him that. I mean, people need to hear that so they don't just think like, oh, he just out here making decisions for no reason.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, where, you know, he saw it.
Yeah. So during that, so during that time, even prior to that, like, even before I actually tore my quad, I was the doctor who did my surgery the first time. I was back and forth going to him because, like, even though they was telling me it was getting better, it didn't necessarily reflect what I was feeling. I know what it feels like when I'm fully healed. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, I was going to him like, look, so they telling me this, but this is what I'm feeling. Da da da. So right before that, he had told me to shut it down, and we gonna have surgery in the middle of the season around like All-Star break, and shut it down the rest of the year and just get ready for next year. And I was like, well, we in the middle of the season, and it was just like, I don't necessarily know if I'm just gonna go to the team that's paying me and be like, look, I'm about to just have, you know, I was just like, nah, I don't.
Because was it contract year that year or the next year?
No, the following year was contract year.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, nah, I don't know if I should, you know, I'm not knowing. I don't think I should, you know, I'm like, man, I'll just wait till after the season over to like reevaluate and see where I'm at and see what it feels like, and then kind of go there.
Did you ask him like, yo, what are you seeing that's showing you that it's gonna go?
He just saying, I think the biggest thing he said was like, you know, they telling you it's getting better, but you're not feeling like it is necessarily. So it's got to be.
But did he show you something like where it's like a scan or he's like, look, like?
No, because MRIs, they can't really read them. They can't really read MRIs. That's
so it was just like you just had to take his word for it, and you didn't really know him that well or something.
Yeah, you know, I didn't really know him great, but I knew he was doing something for me to help me. You know what I'm saying? He was helping me get through it. He was helping me, you know, and he told me to shut it down like a week before I tore my quad. Like, you must have knew something that no one else knew, because wasn't no one else telling me that.
Right. So
for me, it felt like that was the right decision to go to a guy who knew it before it actually happened. Right.
So you go to him, you get the repair.
And then, you know, after that, it was like, it just felt like, you know, people was just feeding me bullshit. From there, it was like, I can't trust nobody now. Like, it was like, when I say that, it was like, looking at it now, I might not have said it out loud to myself like I couldn't trust nobody, but you got one half saying I wouldn't let my dog do surgery on him to what you just did to him. Mm-hmm. But that's the side that's also told me one thing and another thing happened. Yeah. You know? Then I got another side over here that's saying they just tripping, they they don't know what they talking about. Like, all you got to do is just focus on getting better, and you're gonna get better, So mind you, during that time, I'm like, again, you know, I'm a very mentally strong person. And so for me, it's like, okay, I know that it might hurt. Every step might hurt, but I know if that leads to a day where I'm gonna feel better, then I'm gonna take those steps. You know, I don't mind.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was playing on that joint. I was running around. You know, on the bubble. In the bubble, I had, people don't understand. From 2019 until I got my re-repaired, I was playing on literally one leg.
Yeah, because even before that, I wanted to ask you, like, you get the repair and you're doing the rehab, and then you're like, you know, okay to play, but as you're doing the rehab, does it feel okay?
Nah,
like,
I mean, it feels like it's hard to say. Like, there are moments where, you know, I might have felt okay, but for the most part, I was just going right and jumping off my left leg. So, and I knew I knew nobody could stop me going right. So as long as I avoided having to use this leg as much as possible, I would be straight. So that's what I was doing out there. So it wasn't really like, you knew, like, it didn't feel good. Bro, no, my knees ain't felt normal until today.
Right.
Nah, but all seriousness though, like during that time, like, you know, it didn't necessarily feel, it felt like I had no disrespect to anyone, it just felt like I had a fake leg. Like, it felt super different from this one, you know. So what I was playing, because it felt like, you know, again, they say it, playing is a part of rehab. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm not playing, if I'm not out there, that's another, you know, another type of load that benefits your tendons, because that's the only way you heal them, is you load them, you make them bleed, and then it heals itself from that. So for me, I thought I was doing what I needed to do in order to get back to be healthy. So, you know, I was going out there playing through that shit, and then I remember I made it work now. You know, I'm gonna make it do what it do for real. So I made it work, and then going into 2020-2021 season, after COVID, after the bubble, you know, my first 3 games I averaged 20. But if you're the side that's like, I know that shit fucked up, and you is lying to him, but you know, we kind of lost his, I guess you would say, trust, but I don't. He just don't really know what he's confused. We just like, all right, well, we gonna have to. Well, I mean, business wise, you probably trade me anyway, because I'm averaging 20, and I won't sign a lesser deal because I feel like I'm getting better. You know what I'm saying? They telling me all I got to do is do this to get better. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do that beyond that.
And this is the Pacers telling you.
And this,
so the Pacers are, you're thinking like, all right, the Pacers are gonna trade me.
Well, no, I had no. I thought it was a possibility, especially when during the bubble. You know, it's crazy. Like, it's a sick game. It's a sick game. It could get real sick, man. Like, to the point where they was telling me, like, I was, you know, in the games asking other players to come on teams, and I was like, when how? In the heat of battle, I'm just on. It's just, you know,
man. I mean,
to the point where I'm in the bubble and I'm accidentally getting texts from my teammates talking about how I look crazy for talking to guys after games, but
I remember that.
they on in other games talking to guys after games on other teams.
Yeah.
So it's just like, bro, the energy was just off. You know, it was just, you can't, I don't care who you are. If the energy in an environment isn't working for you, it's not going to work out good for you.
Yeah.
No, it's just not a thing. And so for me, it was like, man, like, bro, like, the whole Miami thing came out of nowhere. I was working out in Miami before I even got traded to Indy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole Miami thing, I didn't create that narrative. I didn't create that narrative. Yeah, I didn't create that narrative.
Yeah.
That did not come out that I wanted to come to Miami.
Yeah.
The world and the media created that narrative because I work out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When did they offer you?
Who?
Indiana.
Indiana offered me probably, I want to say they probably offered me around the bubble time-ish. Maybe I'm wrong.
Because I remember before the bubble,
I didn't want to go to the bubble.
We were having conversations about you not wanting to go.
I didn't want to go because I mean, the bubble was different. Obviously, it was an 8-game season, and then we go straight to playoffs. And I had just come back from injury, and COVID hit. Like, I was working outside my garage, bro.
Right.
Bro, bro. You know.
Yeah, I mean, but
it was
know,
bad.
I mean, yeah, it was like
we had no
surgery,
resources,
but then COVID happens,
and we
nothing
were stuck
is
in the
open.
house. Yeah,
you know,
we was buying. We had to go
PT, buying
BT
a gym basically for the garage, and then it's like
come play in the NBA.
playing it, and I just thought that honestly, I thought you. I mean, but you know, you had a convo with Damo like, yo, if you don't want to go, don't go.
Yeah, I mean, because he was dealing with something where he didn't feel right.
Right.
You know, his shit was he didn't feel right, and I told him like, if you don't feel right, don't play.
And
don't
that's
go.
what I thought you was gonna do.
Yeah, and then you know what's happened was, you know, I got there and I you know, they wanted me to. It was controversy, you know, and it wasn't Doma's contract year.
Yeah,
it was Victor's contract year.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
for me, I had to go about it a little differently because you know that's how it go around here. So for me, it
that's
was like
the story. The story is, you know, your contract. They got you and Dennis on those blogs saying that you passed
fumbled
up
the bag. But the bags that they putting on the internet is crazy. 112, 160. I'm like, damn, y'all should have told them to offer me that for real. I would have took it.
So what they offer you?
They offered me 3 years 80. I had just made 4 years. I was on 4 years 84.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
But
so,
this is after this is after the surgery.
This is after my first surgery.
Yeah,
yes.
This is after the first surgery.
And and everybody again was telling me like, if you do this, this, and this, you'll improve, you'll get better. And naturally, I was just getting better naturally. Yeah, it wasn't next because I'm going to detail. My tendon wasn't fully attached to the kneecap when he redid it. So no matter how many times I would do leg extensions to build my quad muscle up, I wasn't going to get enough because it wasn't fully attached.
Right.
So basically, like, I was getting better, but not at the rate maybe I should have been getting better at because it wasn't necessarily done correctly.
So you declined the 80 over 3.
Yeah.
And they trade you to Houston.
Yeah.
And then you play with Houston.
And yeah.
And then they offer me,
well, the GM came and sat next to me and his exact words were, look, I know you're not going to take this, but we're going to offer you 3 years, $30 million.
Yikes.
Just because we respect you and love you as a person. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, thanks.
But you know what I'm going to say.
I mean, he told me what I was going to say.
You know what I'm going to say. So
I said, okay, that's
for
cool.
how long in Houston?
Probably like 2 months.
2 months. You
and
loved
then
it, though.
I love Houston. I love the energy there.
Houston.
I love Houston.
And then they trade you to Miami.
Yep, they traded me to Miami because Miami wanted me.
And it was just like so interesting because that's what the Pacers were saying. Like it was this big elaborate plan when it was just like.
I had nothing to do with the plan.
Right. So you get to Miami. How were you doing?
You know, when I got there, I was okay. When I first got there, I was a little nervous. I got sick the first week, so I missed the first couple practices. Then I got in there, and it was cool. You know, I was adjusting. It was an adjustment. Obviously, I got traded 3 times.
I want to say, like, after you got the first quad tendon repair with the first doctor, I mean, the dent there was like...
It was still there.
It was still there.
Low key, right? That's what people was telling me, but I was feeling like maybe I don't know.
Even if you're not like a surgeon and you're not in that world,
you can
when
see
you
it.
Looked at it, you could kind of tell. Like, I don't know if that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
What did it like when you're looking at it and the people are telling you like, no, it's okay. Are you like, is that a part of like the trust factor where you're like,
yeah, that's why I got so confusing because it was like, well, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's just like, and you know, it's funny, like people just wanted me to accept that's my norm. Like your legs just gonna look awkward. You're gonna feel this weak. You're not ever gonna feel better. It's just like, so it's just a bunch of quitters training me. It's tough. It's tough, boy. It's tough then now you have to put your body in their hands. The same people that's basically telling you without telling you, but not sure, and you're not sure, and it's just like, you know, I'm just gonna keep pushing, keep.
Because how long did you play in Miami? So you kind of tweak.
So probably like 4 or 5 games, bro. It was like the best game I had in New Jersey when I first got traded there. And I had to go back door, bam, throw me a back door. I go up to dunk, and I feel my shit like tweaking. I'm like, Lord God, what's going on? And I come down, and I'm moving, and my shit feel weird. And I just walk to the back. Mind you, I had been there. So I get in there, and then their team doctor, Miami Heat's team doctor, comes out. He's like, man, let me just be honest with you. Like, if you didn't, if you don't get this re-repaired, you'll never have the chance to get your quad back. And you'll probably tear it again. And then if you do that again, it's really over then. So for me, it was about making the decision because, I still was in touch with the doctor who had just did it. And I remember getting on the phone, and he called me. He like, so, what's going on? You just got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. Da 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 da. And I was like, you know what, bro? I'm just gonna get it redone, bro. I said I'm gonna just get it redone. I just don't feel like it was done correctly. It feels like numerous people have told me now, like, if I don't do this, then I won't ever get that opportunity to get my quad back, and I'd rather just do that now than lose my whole career right now. So I ain't spoke to him since. He ain't checked on me. He ain't asked me how I was doing, nothing.
Yeah. And that's such an interesting world, like the surgeon world.
Yeah, they're not allowed to.
I mean, it's just like their unwritten rule where they're not going to speak on each other's work.
Yeah.
They're not, that's just their thing. So,
but they'll tell us, though, that the quad was messed up, though.
Yeah, like they'll tell us that
he did it wrong.
He didn't do the repair right.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, because then when Dr. Glashaw does the repair,
Dr. Glashaw comes in and does 2 tests, nigga. Straight leg raise and a motherfucking leg extension by his own power. Man, I couldn't even push. Yeah. I couldn't extend it, and I couldn't lift my leg. He was like, bro, I don't even know how you was playing in the NBA, walking, let alone playing in the NBA with this. And then that's when I had to get it repaired.
But even when he repairs it, the scar so drastically different. It's so smaller and neat than
the one that I just got. Yeah.
Right.
And it's and it's funny too, because people might sit at home and be like, well, why did you go with that doctor anyway? Even if he was like, he had told me, he was like, man, I was like, so doc, we got a relationship now, like, so who do you think I should do the surgery? His exact response was, he said, if you on the court and you need to get a game and you need to hit a game winner, who you throwing it to? I said, myself. Not what you mean. He was like, and that's how I feel about this surgery.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So it's people don't know the truth. You just see what they tell you. Mm-hmm. You don't know truth. That's why everybody got a podcast now.
Because you can speak yours. Mm-hmm. So then you go get the repair.
Yep.
Go down to New York, get the repair. And you're rehabbing. Mm-hmm. And
one thing for if you get one surgery, it's hard. If you get a repair on the same leg, it's even harder.
Yeah.
It then becomes 10 times harder. Mm-hmm. So during that time, I'm doing things to compensate. I'm one of the greatest athletes ever. So for me, I'm doing things to compensate, to be able to function, to be able to move, to be able to be, have the ability to still play out there. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I'm feeling good, feeling better. And then we sit out the whole year in Miami. We come back. The first 8 games, were a little shaky. Playoff comes, I'm in playoff rotation. Then Jimmy and Kyle sit out. And then we played Atlanta. We play Atlanta to close out Game 5. And it probably was one of the greatest games I played in a Heat jersey.
Yeah.
And during that game, I get a steal. I pluck my boy Hunter from the Hawks. I pluck him, and then as I'm going to pick up the ball, he like nudges me in my back, and my knee knees the knee with the ground. My left knee knees the knee with the ground. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And I remember when it kneed the knee to the ground, I'm like, man, like, luckily it wasn't crazy. My toe hit first, so it wasn't direct contact. But that shit started singing though a little bit. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember it was like there was like a little bone bruise.
I had a bone bruise in there. So, you know, eventually, you know, I'm playing, coming back. And then this is another lesson learned is after that year, you know, to end that year, coming back to Miami, we in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm playing. I led the team in plus minus. I ain't played all year. You know, I'm in the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7 playing. So, you know, I was excited about the next year. I'm like, man, they got it. They're gonna give me more opportunity. And you know, Pat Riley came out and said the starting spot is open. And you know me, you know how I go. When I hit, I say it's equal opportunity. Oh man, I'm putting it in. I'm going to work, Slim.
Yeah, here we go.
You know, and you know, during that time, you know, it's like, okay, you know, for the most part, and yeah, we learning, but we ain't doing anything we ain't asking first, you know. One thing about me and you, we gonna make sure before we just do anything. We gonna vet it. So it wasn't like I was doing anything I wasn't supposed to be doing or didn't ask to do or people didn't agree that it was okay to do. And then during that summer, you know, working out, all of a sudden, you know, I just started getting tendonitis, bro, like out of nowhere, like, and it's just like, man, like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have went this hard because I felt like I had a real opportunity and I really wanted to be prepared for it because, you know, they was going to pay Tyler and start him anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they was going to do
like,
that.
Oh,
like,
the starting spot is open.
Maybe
so
I got a real chance. I need to work. I need to be better, like, to have a chance. Like, but, you know, they was going to start my boy anyway, you know, my brother anyway. So, you know, it was like, maybe I shouldn't have pushed myself that much. Maybe that opportunity actually wasn't as open as they made it seem, you know, and maybe I took it too seriously.
That was kind of like some motivation to Tyler to be like, hey.
Yeah, maybe it was for him. Maybe it was, but you know, me, I was, you know, I was trying to be better. So I was like, oh, you know, I want to, I'm not going to go in there and just think I'm not going to, I feel like, you know,
we went hard that summer. We went hard.
So then, you know, we come into the following year, we don't start right away. I don't start right away. You know, I don't start playing right away. I take some, you know, I got to, you know, get my shit right and take some time off for my shit to heal. And then finally I come back and I'm playing. It's hard to implement yourself in the middle of something that's already going. You know what I mean? It says you don't necessarily get to play in a role you want to play in or you believe you should play in. You kind of just got to fit in. So
yeah, and where you were like your last time kind of playing, like you still feeling like, dog, like
I just was in Game 7.
Oladipo,
yeah,
dog.
I was in
like,
Game 7. Yeah,
I know what I'm capable of.
I'm never not gonna feel that. I don't give a, I could, my legs could fall off tomorrow. I still gonna feel like I'm that guy.
So going into this next season is almost like a confusion of like, hey, why they doing me like this?
Yeah, like, you know,
like and not like why they doing me like this, but like, they know I can go, right? Yeah,
you know, it was a tough adjustment because, but I, you know, obviously when you take a step back, you understand like, okay, you already had the ship sailing, so you don't want a nigga to come in off board and just, you know, you kind of want him to just kind of fit in. But you know, for me, you know, it's hard for me to just play basketball and not feel like I could be myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I know how to play a role and play with great players. Like, I know how to do that. I've done it my whole career, but. You know, when you start to telling me I got to fight my instincts and I can't really be myself, and it's tough for me, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I think basketball is instinctual. I think that's what makes players great and why people love to watch is because we get to see players' instincts and how they operate at an all-time high. So it was different, you know, it was different, but, you know, one thing I loved about it is we had a great team, great teammates, you know what I'm saying? And it was good. It was good. It was a good experience. That year, unfortunately, you know, towards the end of the year, I got benched, like towards playoff time. And, you know, I was a little confused. I was a little frustrated just because of the fact, like, I felt like, you know, we could have handled it a little differently. But, you know, that's the thing. Like, you know, in business.
It wasn't nothing crazy. It was just more so the communication.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Nothing like,
it wasn't nothing. It was just the communication part. Like, I would have loved to have known rather than just kind of find out on sporadic, you know. And, you know, it was cool. It is what it was. But, you know, in rehab, it's tough. You know what I mean? Like, when you don't have a consistent schedule or consistent pattern on what you're doing, and you slowly build up so that you can get, because rehab isn't, because a lot of people think rehab is, okay, they tell you you're 100%, now go be 100%. No. Like it's a buildup. It's okay.
just-
Really, they telling us it takes 6 to 12, 8 to 12 months to come back, but really it probably take longer for us. So then we're going out there. We not really are 100%. Because if you was 100%, bro, you wouldn't. Why you running back and forth and you don't look at yourself and you're not driving it? It's because you're not 100%.
Yeah, and why you got a time restriction?
Yeah, why you do that? It's because you're not 100%. You know, and if you're not in a place where you like one of the guys to where they're gonna work with you, so until you get back to being yourself, it's a little different.
Yeah. I mean, it's very different because your PT is telling you your optimal load and your optimal minutes. But if you're not one of the guys,
They don't care nothing about that.
yeah, they not tripping on that. They
Yeah.
like,
Which, at the end of the day too, like people gotta understand too with NBA teams is they gotta it's a whole entire entity in business that they gotta keep running. Like, so, obviously they don't want you to take it personal because like, it's so much that they have to make sure is good as well as, still have your best interest to a degree, so in family, which I call a lot of teams, when you go to different teams, it's different families you're in. You're not always going to agree, and it's not always going to work out right, but you shouldn't take it personal or hold grudges. I think that's weird. I think that's where it get weird, and I think that's where people got to grow up. But, unfortunately for me, it just was dramatic, the losses I had, So, but it's cool, you know what I mean? Like, again, like, it's all right. I'm not tripping. It was, like I said, a long time or a while ago, I said like, if God had to keep breaking me down in order for me to understand the power within myself, I'm cool with that.
yeah,
And understand, what's in my head and what I have to say is important for people to hear, then I'm cool with that because I think he understands that the injuries ain't gonna break me. That's why it's so easy for him to do it to me, because they ain't gonna break me. But I would be doing him a disservice if I didn't deliver the proper message. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. And when I fell, and I told you this, when I fell the last time, and my last time getting hurt, I told myself it was over. I thought it was over. Yeah, it's over. It's over. Like I was ready for it all to be over. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, I'm surrendering it. And I remember sitting there, and I'll never forget this as long as I live, like sitting there and like, I'm like, wow, it's over. But you know why I'm cool with it is because I'm cool with it. You know what happened prior to that? I had to have a conversation like, man, I just got to be myself. Like, let me be myself out there. And that game, I was going crazy, flying around, defending. I ain't had 30, but you could tell my fingerprints was all over that jump. Like, and I was cool if that was the end. Like if that was it, God, if that's what it was, if it ended like that, God, at least I was able to be myself, and not worry about if am I doing something right? Should I do it like this to make sure I can I can play and do things the right way?
Yeah, because before that game, you had
I had a combo.
I mean, well, not that game, but the game before.
The game before the
had
game.
a conversation with Coach Spo.
Yeah, just telling him like, yo, let me just be myself out there. Like, I can't. I think the biggest reason why, things don't work out for both sides is because one side might not know what he wants for himself, so the other side creates what it should be for him. That doesn't mean that's necessarily who he is or what he is, So for me, it was just going up there and just telling him who I am, like, and what I want to do and bring to the table and how I can help the team win. And Spo was just awesome, bro. Like, he was just so receptive, so dope. Like, I mean, he is. Like, he was just so awesome about it. And it was like when I first checked into game 2, he was like, be yourself. And it was just like, man, bro, it was like wings, and
and that's what you're talking about when you was like, man, if it went like this, I mean, at least I went out like being me.
Yeah, I went out being myself. And, I was sitting there and I was like, man, they gonna have to get a stretcher. And a lot of people don't understand the magnitude of getting out on that joint. It's like people equate that to, it's just the end, and it's unfortunate. And I remember sitting there And you remember I called Kyle Lowry. Man, F that. He don't need no damn stretcher. F that. He don't need no stretcher. He gonna walk off this joint. And I remember I was like, oh. And I remember staring at my leg, and it stuck bent like this. And I remember just moving back and being able to straighten my leg from moving backwards. And then they held me up, and then I kind of hobbled off with some assistance. And I remember a few weeks later, you remember I called Kyle Lowry. I said, man, brother, I want to thank you. He said, why? I said, bro, you gave me strength to stand up. I said, that made me realize, like, bro, like, it ain't the end. You know what I'm saying? It's only the beginning. And I remember going in the back, and you just know how things go. Like, it's going to be the mass texts, mass tweets, mass love, I'm sorry, and then it's all disappear in time. And what made me so mad is, like, I think the most part that made me so angry was, like, it's like, man, do y'all, it's, everyone else felt like it was the end. I could just feel it on people. They won't say it, but it was like, man, what God are you serving? Like, because that's the God you preaching to me about and telling me about and helping me and motivating me and trying to, you know, instill something in me and get something out of me. It was just like, is that the same? Well, God, if God was the person that I first seen when I left out of that arena, what do you think he would have said to me? That's why I'll never stop until it's the way I wanted it to be, the way he wants it to be for me. I'm not gonna stop. Like, yeah. And at the end of the day, like, I'm gonna go out on my terms and his terms for me. Like, I'm not going out like that. It's just not it. Like, there's some things that you kind of have to be okay with. You know what I'm saying? There's some guys who retire on their own will. Like, man, you know, I'm tired of this. I'm not retiring off that. It's not happening. And also, off like, I'm not retiring like that. That's not something that's happening ever. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that on my life, my career. I've, you know, been through enough personally in my career, and I just know I have the power to change everything. I know I have the power to change my whole career, my life around. I know, because I had the power to create it. Yeah.
So where you at now?
Well, I'm at the point now where it's like I'm rehabbing and I'm getting stronger and I'm getting ready, and I'm stepping back and I'm seeing, like, whoa, like, it don't take 8 to 12 months for anyone to get back and play. Like, it takes longer. And there are guys who play and try to heal while they're playing. And at the end of the day, that's not what I think we should be doing. Like, Lonzo Ball, I think, did it best. He took 2 years off before he's back playing. Yeah. Like, and I think that all players, when they get hurt, they should have that grace. And if you gotta come up with a deal or a way where, you know, it's not just feeling like we paying you just to sit around, but you're still contributing, you're still helping somehow, or we're deducting a little bit, or whatever you want to do. I don't know. Whatever you want to do to make, you know, it equals, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense business-wise for both sides. But as far as humans don't have nothing to do with money or business. That's a whole different being and physicality. Yeah, that don't have nothing to do with money or business. That's just healing. That's a whole different lane. You know what I mean? And I think players need that grace and that time, because when you get hurt, it's nothing to do with you. You know, it's so many more things that go into it, from a functional, mechanical, just different things that could go into the reason why it happened at all. And there are ways for you. You can always heal yourself from anything. And people who tell you otherwise, they're just comparing you to the others who weren't able to. And and I don't, no disrespect to everyone else, I never have. Imagine if we had this whole story. Imagine the beginning I had to, and they told me I wasn't, and I was like, well, I'm not, because look at this guy, he didn't. Yeah. I wouldn't have. So I just never I was just only worried about my journey, my path, and you know, the what I had planned in my head, and just sticking to that plan, you know, and it turned out great for me. So for me, I don't really care about what anyone else got going on or what everybody else thinks, or, you know, I'm just focused on what I got to do with me. And I truly believe there's a bunch of fans and a bunch of people who want to see me play, man. I really do. I think the whole world wants to see me play. I mean, I played overseas. I played in London for the NBA. I've played in many places, Mexico, and I think people around the world want to watch me, and they want to see me healthy, and they want to see me, you know, stand on top of that mountain and be successful and win. So I just want to get that. I just pray and hope I get that opportunity once I get healthy, and you know, I'm gonna do my thing.
Love that. Love that.